What's going on, Wings fans? Welcome to Day 2 of the NHL Prospect Tournament presented by Huntington Bank. We're here in Traverse City, Michigan at Center Ice Arena, getting ready for puck drop between the Red Wings and the St. Louis Blues, defending Stanley Cup champions. This one should be good. Last night we had a bit of a thriller with the Blackhawks again in the Red Wings. That was a great game. Red Wings fought back in that second period but couldn't hold on. They lost in overtime. It was a final score of 5-4, guys. I'm Daniela Bruce. We've got Art Regner and Ken Kale on the call today. It's going to be a lot of fun. Guys, overall, what were your thoughts about last night?
Well, I like the specialty teams, guys, and I really like the way that the Red Wings scored 3 power play goals. I thought their penalty kill was terrific in the third period. Had to kill off back-to-back power plays. They did that. I thought Fulcher kind of rebounded after a tough start in the first period. Overall, a pretty good performance. Joe Veleno stepped up his game, and just a tough loss in overtime.
Well, it was a great game, I thought. I thought everybody really enjoyed playing. You could tell they were disappointed that they lost the game. This is a quick turnaround, and even though they're supremely conditioned athletes and most of them are teenagers out there, it'll be interesting to see, especially a guy like Maurice Cider, who commented last night after the game, first game on the small surface, and so let's see how he rebounds, where he's coming from, because I think the early reviews on him were outstanding. I mean, he's a very aggressive, he makes plays, so I'm excited to see that. And again, Ben Simon said, if we got rid of like the first period, except for the beginning, we played a pretty good hockey game. So I think the Red Wings feel pretty good at their effort last night. They were just disappointed that they lost.
I think that would be my biggest takeaway, was that we need to get off to a faster start tonight and find our groove a little quicker and hopefully keep that going for the whole game. Our team reporter, Carly Johnston, was down on ice level for that game last night. Carly, what were your takeaways?
Thanks, Daniela. Yeah, I really agree with all three of you. Watching the game last night, it looked good. I hate to say it, but the Chicago Blackhawks looked really good as well. So that was kind of the battle all night. It's two really good teams playing against each other. That's why it was such a close game. I got to go in the locker room afterwards and got to talk to some of the players and see what their takeaways were. And I know a lot of them were mentioning they were bummed about the outcome, wish they would have gotten that win. But they were really happy about how their power play was looking and just the chemistry out on the ice. I also got to talk to Cider about his little rough and tough game with Kirby Dach out there. We were asking him, were you trying to get under his skin? And he said, yeah, he's a really good player. I just kind of wanted to get in his head a little bit. Did it work? I don't know, but it was definitely a chippy game, I'll say that much. And I have to brag a little bit. My player to watch has been Joe Veleno, and he proved why last night. 2 goals in the second period really kind of brought us back in that game. Again, a bummer of a game, but Caden Fulcher started off, struggled a little bit, came out a strong goaltender in the end. And we'll see in this game tonight against the Blues if we can come out with a win this time.
Yeah, Carly. Thank you, Carly. That was great. She mentioned Joe Veleno. That was one guy that we talked about. After that first period, we were up here kind of saying we need our bigger guys to step up. We need the guys that you're expected to play well. Zadina, Veleno, guys like that. Lindstrom, all those guys needed to collectively come together and get things rolling. Once they did, what did you think about that core group of guys?
Well, when the game was on the line, I thought that Veleno was terrific, especially when the game was tied 4-4. There was about 3-4 minutes left in the game. Great players always seem to come alive in those situations, and that was my take on Joe Veleno. As you could see when they were rushing into the Chicago zone, he wanted to make things happen, and that's the mark of outstanding players. So I like that quality in a hockey player, and I saw that last night from Veleno and Zadina.
Zadina did not. He had that golden opportunity. All he had to do was elevate the puck. He was out of the room quickly after the game last night. He didn't really want to talk about it. I expect him, I think he's pressing a little bit still like he did last year. Not so much as he did last year, but I think Zadina's going to come through. A guy that I really want to watch is Javonni Smith. He was all over the ice, and he's second year pro now. He's used to the quick turnover, and he's a little bit older than some of these guys, so he should be really primed and ready to go. So I think that Javonni obviously is a guy that believes he has a fair shot at making the Red Wing roster this year, or if not, he wants to be the first call up for Grand Rapids. Veleno, you're going to hear me say this ad nauseum. I mean, he believes and he wants and he will do everything humanly possible on the ice to make the Red Wings coming out of camp. He wants to do it. He's putting all the other rookies and everybody else on notice that he's in competition with. He means business, and I think last night, and Ken is absolutely right, the Red Wings were down 4-1. They needed something to happen, and he was the guy that, as corny as it sounds, took the team kind of on his back and scored those 2 goals to tie it up. And he was a different player. He was a difference maker. And quite frankly, the Red Wings need a few more difference makers on the big club roster. Who knows? I mean, I'm putting a lot of pressure on him. Maybe Veleno's that guy.
Let's take a second to talk about the St. Louis Blues. They also had a game last night. They suffered a very tough loss, Toronto Maple Leafs. They lost with a final score of 6-2. Their goal scorers were Robbie Jackson and Alexei Torchenko. Now, Ken, do you know anything about those 2 guys and what we can expect out of this Blues team tonight?
Well, Torchenko played in Guelph for the Ontario Hockey League last season, Daniela. 68 games. He had 89 points, actually. Actually, he played 43 points, 62 games with Guelph, 33 penalty minutes, but he's the kind of guy that I want to keep an eye on tonight. You mentioned that he did score last night. He's got an offensive flair, and he's somebody that you got to keep an eye on. I want to watch him tonight. But the Blues, they won the Stanley Cup last year. They're looking for young talent to, just keep that pipeline going and staying on top in the NHL. So it'll be an interesting game here today. Toronto looked pretty good in their win over St. Louis last night. We'll see them on Monday.
Yep.
Both of these teams lost.
Right.
The Red Wings lost in OT, and they came back. Toronto pretty much shelled St. Louis. Both of these teams need a win, so I'm kind of really eager to see how they both come out and how they perform. From a Red Wing perspective, there's certain guys in the lineup today that didn't get a chance last night, so let's see what they do. Are they going to be the difference makers for this Red Wing team? And in St. Louis's case, hey, we lost. I mean, we were lost big, so there's still a lot of opportunity here. The St. Louis club should have a lot of incentive to show what they can do because they didn't show all that much against the Leafs last night.
Yes, and another guy that we haven't really hit on yet, Maurice Cider. We talked a lot about him. He spent a lot of time on the ice last night. I know you guys were speculating that we may not see as much of him in today's game. What are you guys thinking about that now?
Well, he's a young player, and I think he's got the legs to do it, but he was really physical, especially with Kirby Dach the whole game last night. In the early goings, he left the game a little bit because he was hit, but came back and actually played strong. I liked his calculated pinches, especially late in the third period. He seems like he's a real smart player, especially in his own zone. He knows how to read a play in the offensive zone. And, with this quick turnaround that Art mentioned, Daniela, it'll be interesting to see, does he have the gas in another game, in an afternoon game after a night game? So we'll see that here this afternoon.
After the game, I asked him, I go, was your game plan to get into Kirby Dach's head? Because it certainly seemed like it's something we don't know about, carry over. I mean, and he said that he thought that Dach was one of the best players in his draft class, and he definitely wanted to get inside his head a little bit. And I said, so that was your game plan then? You wanted to get inside of his head? Because he just told me, and he said, my game plan is to win the game. That's my first and foremost game plan. Every game I go into, that's so. What do we have here in Maurice Cider, at least early on? Competitiveness, top of the charts. Aggressiveness, top of the charts. He's more than willing to pinch in, as Ken said, and make plays, and high hockey IQ. When they drafted him, Steve Yzerman pretty much said that. He liked him, and what he liked is kind of the intangibles. The talent's there, but when you get to this level, they all have talent. What separates them are the intangibles. Steve said he liked his intangibles. You could see last night the intangibles that he has, and again, I know I have a tendency to be melodramatic and overdo it, but I think Maurice Cider, Joe Veleno is another one. I think they could be fast-tracked to the Red Wings pretty quick, simply because, again, going on what Steve Yzerman said, jobs are available, and if Steve's anything like he was when he was a player, which he certainly is, he's going to put the best team out on the ice, whatever. The thing that'll be interesting, as I said last night, is how is he going to massage some of these contracts that he has on some of the veteran clubs, and what does he do, what kind of movements does he make or try to make in order maybe to put the best team on the ice, and perhaps the best team on the ice might be some of these younger guys.
Yes, definitely. I mean, all of these guys you talked about, Joe Veleno gunning for a job. You got to remember all of these guys are still gunning for a job in some way, shape, or form. Another one of those guys, we're going to talk more about Cider in just a few minutes, But Javonni Smith, we talked about him a lot yesterday. He spent a lot of time on the ice. He might be one of the guys that is most determined to make the Red Wings coming up in this fall because, like Ken said yesterday, this might be it for him. This might be all or nothing.
I think the coaches are putting him into different situations where they want to see how he performs. And yesterday, Art and Daniela, we saw him on the power play with the top players that are on the Red Wing team for this Prospects Tournament. And he was the kind of guy that would get in front of the net. Didn't have many offensive opportunities, but this is an important Prospects Tournament for him. This is his third or fourth time that he's been here in Traverse City, and he wants to make the best of the situation. And there's a lot of pressure on him right now, and he wants to prove to the coaching staff that he's willing to take it to the next level.
I'm a shameless promoter, but the blog series that we do on DetroitRedWings.com, which is called Taking Flight, Javonni's one of our bloggers. His blog is called Powering Forward. I think he's written 6 of them now. If you go back on our website and you read all 6 of them, you can see the progression in his blogs as how he's talking about how difficult of a transition it was for him. And we have a tendency to forget. He's away from home. He's away from his comfort zone. Even though he played, in the Ontario Hockey League, he's still in Ontario, and that's where he's from. When he got to Grand Rapids, it was a whole different world. So he had more adjustments than just to make to the program, and he had off the ice and on the ice adjustments. He realizes that, and I think, and why I'm telling you to read his blog, and I truly mean this, is that he understands where he's at. He doesn't have these grandiose plans that, I'm going to come and make the Red Wings. He knows that he is a bit of a project and that it's going to be a little bit slower for him. So I like the situation, as Ken pointed out, that they did put him in different situations. He definitely wants to be on the power play. What hockey player doesn't? But he was also on the penalty kill, too. That is a good shot of confidence for him. That makes him feel, they still believe in me. Let's put it that way. They're putting me in every situation to prove myself. And like every one of these hockey players out here, now it's up to them. What are they going to do with it? And again, as I said earlier, and not to sound too redundant here, Javonni Smith, in the AHL, you play a lot of like 3 games in 3 nights, or heck, 4 games in 3 nights. I mean, they're always playing. He should be used to this quick turnaround, so he should have a pretty good hockey game today.
Definitely are. I'm excited to see what he does tonight and the rest of the Prospects Tournament. I said we'd get back to Mo Cider. One of the most exciting days in his life had to be when he was drafted 6th overall back in June. Let's take a look back at that day.
Temper my expectation, but certainly he looks like a guy who can be a top 4D and help you win hockey games. Now, does he become a top pair D? We'll see. That's all in time. But he looks like a guy to me. Again, for me, you need big, efficient, smart defenseman, and he's that.
With the 6th pick in the draft, the Detroit Red Wings select from Mannheim with the DEL, Maurice Cider.
You can hear the reaction here in this arena, and we're smiling because, you know what, Steve Yzerman alluded to this earlier. This is where at 6 things get interesting because the rankings and ratings, well, they're all over the place once you get past maybe the 5 or 6, but you did not see this coming either way.
We felt kind of the top 5 kind of went somewhat as we expected, and there's a group of players, this next group of players, including Moritz, there's very good prospects. They're all good prospects. Ultimately, what we liked is a big defenseman who can skate, who has excellent hockey sense. And again, there was a lot of players to choose from. It wasn't a no-brainer, but we're excited to get him.
He said just be calm and enjoy the moment because my hands were so shaking. I was so sweaty, and yeah, I mean it's just a fun experience being here. Yeah, I mean Mannheim and Detroit, I think they have a lot in common. They're both worker cities, so I think that's going to be easy. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to being Detroit. I would say smart two-way defenseman who loves to join the rush, creating space for his teammates, but also is not afraid to play the body on the ice. I would say.
Everybody else. Awesome. Some maybe some. Man, turn it to 120. Oh baby! We've been waiting for this. pose for a picture? Oh, this is like boy band stuff.
What? Is that One Direction or what?
Yeah.
Yeah, flow is important.
That was a great head of hair.
You know, we explored options to possibly trade back. We weren't able to do that, and we're pretty excited to get him. So I know our fans don't know much about him, but I think people come to development camp and see him move, Google him, watch him play a little bit. I think they'll be pleasantly surprised.
Wow. Whoa.
Wow.
Very good.
Hey, das war wow. Alter, oder? Ja? Ich habe null damit gerechnet.
Sure, I mean, I got my equipment here in Vancouver. Looking forward to be on the ice next week and challenging on the ice again. I think it's going to be a perfect opportunity, getting better in the off season.
So all in German.
Okay, hallo Detroit-Fans. Ja, mein Name ist Maurice Cider. Ich freue mich schon riesig, euch alle kennenzulernen. Ich bin richtig pumped, freue mich auf die neuen Herausforderungen und ja, ich denke, wir sehen uns bald. Ich freue mich riesig und ja, ciao.
What an exciting day that had to be for him. It was an exciting day for all of us. It was Steve Yzerman's first draft as general manager, and everybody was kind of, I don't want to say shocked when he took Mo Cider at 6, but that might be the right word for it. It was unexpected, and now he's had some time to spend in Detroit, Mo Cider that is, and mix with some of the other guys, skate with some of the other guys. What do you guys think Mo Cider is working on in that perspective? What do you think he's trying to do in this offseason?
Well, I just think that he wants to play his game. And Art mentioned the leadership abilities and capabilities that he has. And one thing I noticed even in last night's game before the period started, he huddled up all the guys together, and it seemed like they were having a good time. Zadina and Veleno and Javonni Smith, and you know, they were all teamed up, yucking it up a little bit. And when he had to coach him a little bit, he did. And so that's anytime a young player who's 18 years old and he has an opportunity to do that, you see that, you go, wow, this guy has some leadership qualities about him that is really going to be terrific down the road when he gets a little bit older. But I like what I've seen so far. I liked him in development camp. He was has a terrific offensive game. I wanted to see his defensive game last night. Pretty impressed with it. I'd give him full marks.
I would say that as any young man, he needs to get physically stronger. Once he starts playing, and nothing against the German league, which is a professional league, and he played against men, playing in the best league in the world, which is the National Hockey League, these are men, you know? I mean, these are guys that fully developed. They're all talented. They know how to play the game. So that transition, he can stay with them as far as I think the way he thinks the game intellectually. However, physically, I think is what he probably has to work on. And also play your game, as Ken said, but also play within yourself. And he seems to have the ability, because last night when he pinched at the right time. He wasn't overdoing it. He wasn't overthinking. He wasn't playing beyond himself and what his capabilities are. And again, that's exactly what Steve said he liked about him. Steve watched him a lot. According to what Ken Holland told me when I saw him at the summer showcase out in Plymouth about a month or so ago, is that what Steve really liked about him, according to Ken, is the fact is he liked the way Mo Cider conducts himself on the ice, his game. He likes the way he plays. He seems to have great vision and sees everything in front of him and is able to react correctly and not overreact.
And you know, one thing that you guys both mentioned a bit yesterday watching Mo Cider play was that he plays a bit fearless. Like, he made plays that, you know, might have been a little dangerous, might have been a little risky. Do you like the fact that he plays fearless, Ken? That's
a good point. And I think young players take those high-risk reward type plays, you know, and they want to be the guy to make the play. And sometimes it goes against you, and a lot of times you make the wrong read, or young players make the wrong read. The plays that he made late in the third period where the Red Wings had pressure and they were bottling up the Blackhawks, there were a couple of plays along the boards at the line where he pinched in and kept the puck in the zone, and that provided some offense for Detroit. You know, those are high-risk plays late in the game that can go against you, but it seemed like he made the right plays. And from a young player like that, to make those types of plays, it's almost like a veteran move.
Right.
And you got to be able to read the game, know your situation, where the coverage is behind you in case you do get caught, and he certainly did that.
I thought in the beginning of the game, he was calling for the puck. He always wants the puck. As we reached about the midway of the second period, the rest of the Red Wings on the ice with him were looking for him to give him the puck. That's really all you need to know. I mean, they're supremely confident in him because he does make the right decisions. And it's really important. And what happens is sometimes you don't know. It's a crapshoot, right? You draft somebody, you think you know, you read the reports, you see him live. Maybe he had a good game that day. Maybe, something was going on in his personal life. He was a little off. But what we've seen from Maurice Cider is once he gets on the ice, he's focused on the task at hand. And for a young player to be that focused and to consistently make the right plays and then rally the guys together and be able to not even call for the puck, they're looking up for him and say, better give it to Mo, let him, he's got it all figured out. At least he's got a feel for what's going on and what we're trying to do. Let him do it. So, again, I know we're being effusive in our praise of him, but I think at this point, what we've seen, it's only one game. Let's be cautious here. He's pretty impressive.
And the other thing about Maurice Cider is that, you want him to continue to develop. And that's the thing. Like, he's not going to be everything you want at age 18, but you want to see that progression in him. And so what we've seen from him right now really is, I think it's pretty good. And Art, you made a good point yesterday when you said the Red Wings need to get lucky with a young guy, a guy that could come in and say, we're not saying that he's going to make the team. We don't know. I mean, it depends on how he does throughout this development camp and regular training camp. But if he should make the team and perhaps play well, other teams have had success with young players stepping in and being really solid players. I think the Red Wings haven't had that opportunity, and it'd be really nice for some youngster or one or two to step into the lineup and really be a contributing factor this season.
Well, certainly, and I think he's in a very good spot, and one of the reasons why he was drafted 6th overall is the Red Wings blue line, and I respect all the guys that are on the current roster, all their defensemen. They're accomplished veterans. They've had long and wonderful careers, but if you're going to make the Red Wings, there's a couple of forward spots. Defenses, if you can show that you can play defense, I'm pretty sure, and this is all up to Steve and Coach Blashill and all those guys, is that if he shows enough, then you're going to be able to live with his mistakes. You shouldn't learn the game at the National Hockey League level, but if he's got enough of a game already, where their defense is at right now, why not?
And the loss of Nicholas Cronwall, too. He retired just last week, so there's another, I don't want to say spot open, but we're short a defender now, so that's something else to look into.
And Nick is is a special assistant to the general manager, so he's going to be around. So, again, there you have another, and we're really jumping the gun here, but if somehow Maurice Cider makes this roster, and, it's really probably not going to happen, but let's say somehow they do catch a break on a player, and he does, got Nick Cronwall on the ice every day with him practically. He's going to be here. He's going to be in Detroit before, he decides to go back to Sweden and, I don't know, run the donut shop with Henrik Zetterberg and his wife, whatever, But I think that I think it's a good situation. I think the Red Wings have some pieces here that sooner rather than later, you're going to see this team maybe not be Stanley Cup contenders as quickly as the fan base would like, but they're going to be back being competitive and being a playoff team pretty soon.
Let's talk about one more thing that we didn't talk about too much, goaltending. In last night's game, Caden Fulcher got the start, had a rough first period, bounced back pretty nicely. Tonight, Sean Romeo is in net. I've actually not seen Sean Romeo play. Do you guys know much about him and what we can expect tonight?
Well, he played college hockey for Ohio State University. He's 6'1", 172 pounds, and didn't play that bad. 17 games played last year. His record was almost 500, 8-7-2. Save percentage, we always talk about that. You want to be around 90% or better, and he was at .902. So, he had some numbers there. It'll be interesting. I've never seen him play. Saw him a little bit on video, but I want to see how he competes here in today's game against the Blues.
Well, first of all, I think Ken's going to have a field day with his name, Romeo.
Wherefore art thou?
But I think the story of goaltending at this Prospects Tournament is the fact that Phillip Larsson cannot play.
Yep.
Because, again, total respect to everybody that's a goaltender within the organization, he is the one, every level that he has moved up, Phillip Larsson, and he definitely plays with an edge, has a little bit of an attitude. He is the guy that, with Jimmy Howard getting a little bit older and Jonathan Bernier still under contract for 2 more years, they're eventually going to need a goaltender. And I know you can, pick somebody up and, trade for one, and there's all various ways that you can do that. But if the Red Wings are going to get better in a hurry, Phillip Larsson has to be the guy that really comes in and continues the ascension that he's had the last couple of years.
All right, guys. Well, we've still got a few minutes until the game is underway. We're going to take a short break, so stay with us. This is the Huntington Bank NHL Prospects Tournament stream. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Welcome back to the NHL Prospects Tournament stream presented by Huntington Bank. I'm Daniela Bruce, joined by Art Regner and Ken Kale. Guys, we've only got a couple minutes until this game is underway. St. Louis Blues, Detroit Red Wings. What are your predictions for tonight?
Well, it's a short turnaround for both of these two teams. St. Louis lost 6-2 last night. Red Wings lost a tough one in overtime, so we'll see what team has the fresher legs for this game in a short turnaround.
Well, I think Ken's exactly right, but remember, they are playing the defending Stanley Cup champs. Now, granted, none of these guys
were they on there?
Their names aren't on the cup, but I think a little bit of incentive. Again, each team lost. This is a 4 games in 5 days. It's a short tournament, and they're all going to. A lot of these guys are going to go to the big camp that begins next week. So, I expect both teams to come out and play their best games thus far, simply because they lost, and there's still opportunity, and they want to impress. They want to make sure, and some of them have already made it, but some of these guys that are like free agents and things, that they want to play well enough so they can get to the big camp and continue their ascension.
I tell you what, if this Red Wings team can start like they did in the second period, I think they're going to be in very, very good shape. That first period, hopefully they can put that behind them. We saw that a lot in the big club last season when they would start off kind of weak, but then get going as the game went on. So hopefully that's something they can take control of in this first period.
And sooner or later, we all know about the Red Wings, the big club, losing those one-goal games. Sooner or later, you got to turn that around, and I was hoping that they would turn that around yesterday in the Prospects game.
All right, guys, we're going to go down to the ice for starting lineups and the anthem. All right, guys, just a few minutes away from puck drop. This is going to be an exciting game tonight. Again, I'm Daniela Bruce, and we've got Ken Kale and Art Regner up here on the call. Ken, you ready for this one?
Ready to go here, and looking forward to seeing how the youngsters play and progress. Very impressed with the game last night. I mentioned that, and you mentioned it too, Daniela, that the Red Wings started off pretty good, then they fell into a little bit of a hole, but I like the way that they dug in and came back in that game yesterday against Chicago.
And if you look at the starting lineup, we've got Peach Pearson out there.
I hope they were listening to the stream last night to know why
he's
you're
from Georgia,
Peach
and
Pearson.
Ken decided, since Ken, the ultimate Tiger fan as well, big Ty Cobb fan, the Georgia Peach, the greatest Tiger of them all. So we kind of labeled him that way. We haven't run it by Chase yet to see if he likes it, but this is a high energy line. Want to set the tone early as the Red Wings do.
Look at Savages. He had a goal in yesterday's game. He is out there on the wing, and the puck is dropped. Pearson wins the draw, taps it back, and we're underway as Cider dropped it back to Regula. Now to Cider again. Stared it up the right wing wall, comes out to center. Balmas has it for the Blues, tapping it out to center ice. Cider in a foot race with Hancock deep in the Detroit zone. We got a penalty call right off the get-go here, and we're only 18 seconds into the game. Interference will be the call, and I believe it's going against Mo Cider.
Well, not exactly the start that the Red Wings were looking for, but we do get to see them go on the penalty kill early, which was pretty impressive last night.
It was impressive, and Mo Cider, I'm sure the advantage he has, he did not like that call and probably uttered something in German that we would rather not repeat.
Goaltenders today is Colton Ellis for the St. Louis Blues, and in goal for Detroit is Sean Romeo. We talked about him a little bit. Played his college hockey at Ohio State, and we mentioned that in the pregame show. All right, the Blues are on the power play. No score first period. Renke with a shot on goal. Pad save made by the goaltender Romeo, and a quick whistle in that Red Wing end.
Pretty good save there. Traffic in front of the net. He saw it all the way, and Romeo did what he had to do, which was make the stop.
Red Wing penalty killers out there for Detroit. Joe Veleno in the middle. It's also out there with Taro Hirose, Gustav Lindstrom, and also on the blue line for the Detroit Red Wings is number 64. Actually, 94, that's Regula.
Well, this is a great opportunity early for the Red Wings to kind of quell a storm.
Costin over the line, dropped it back. It flipped off a stick, comes out to center ice, and the Blues will control out at center ice. Here's Stevens, motoring his way over the blue line. Drop feed, left circle feed off the stick of his man into the corner. They battle for it. Along the near wing, trying to chip it out is Pearson. That puck is up over and into the bench.
Red Wings doing a good job of getting on top of St. Louis here early, not allowing them to set up. The Blues trying to make a play, trying to look for an open man, which obviously they have since they're on the power play. But Red Wings thus far doing pretty good coverage in their own end.
Boganski, Hancock out there for the Blues on this power play, along with Jackson. Alexandrov is on the blue line, along with Jake Christensen. Here come the Blues out of their own zone. Christensen's pass broken up at center by Pearson. He finds the opening along the right wing boards and shoots it in. Ellis, the goaltender, steers it around the near wing, and Hancock circles in behind his own goal and brings it up along the far wing. Cross ice feed to Jackson into the Detroit zone. He'll shoot it into the corner. After it for Detroit is Dastu. He played pretty strong yesterday in the game. Dastu, the Red Wing defenseman.
Yeah, he certainly did. Yeah, really, again, not a bad effort by Detroit last night. Just came up short in overtime.
Oh, one-time effort from the right side by Alexandrov, and a quick save made by the Red Wing netminder Sean Romeo.
Yeah, I like the way Romeo got over there quickly. I mean, he kind of anticipated it, but obviously the puck's on one side of the ice. He had to wait. Pass was made, and he was right there to make the play.
28 seconds to go, and the man advantage for the Blues. No score here in the opening period. From the draw, the Blues win and control it. Alexandrov along the right wing. Into the corner, battling for it is Regula, Red Wing defenseman. He played big last night.
Good to see because he's been hurt most of this offseason.
Christensen with a drive, save made, rebound opportunity right out in front. Jackson trying to score on the rebound, and again, Romeo, busy netminder, came up with a save.
And he looks pretty good. I mean, granted, he can see the puck, and they should stop it, but so far early on, Romeo not looking bad in net.
Yeah, Ken, we said we hadn't had the chance to see him play yet, and he's looking pretty good so far.
Yeah, he's seeing the puck well, and the Red Wing defender's doing a pretty good job of forcing those Blues out of his vision so he can make those saves. There's a feed to the right circle. Trying to feed it out in front was Washkurek, and that one ends up in behind the goal. Red Wings are at full strength, so another good penalty kill for Detroit. We mentioned in yesterday's game the Wings killed off back-to-back power plays for the Blackhawks in the third period, and they look pretty good in doing it as well.
Well, really, the highlight for the Red Wings was their special team play, as you pointed out in the pregame, Ken. Romeo's one of those guys. He's a free agent invitee, so this is a huge game for him, too. You don't know how many opportunities he's really going to get.
Toropchenko, he had a goal in yesterday's game against the Maple Leafs, tried to make his way in. The puck comes back into the St. Louis zone as they regroup. Pass off the stick of Washkurek into the Detroit end. Wings clear it out to center ice, and scooping it up there, Stevens. No score first period. Glad you're in tune on this Saturday afternoon. Lalonde chasing the loose puck down and behind his own goal. Icing is the call against St. Louis. Well, the Blues have the Stanley Cup champions, the big club, and boy, it was hard to believe at one point, Daniela and Art, that they were one of the worst teams in the National Hockey League in January and ended up winning the Stanley Cup.
Yes, that was one of the most incredible stories, obviously. That was a great run, too. Fun to watch.
You know, just so Ken can call the rest of the game, is that a final for Ann Arbor?
That looks like a final from Ann Arbor, 24-21.
Michigan.
Close. Nail biter for those Wolverines out there.
Well, then I'll be able to sleep tonight.
I was saying if the Wolverines lost that game, we'd have to chain Art to the booth here. We didn't want him jumping across and onto the ice.
Yeah.
Oh, I would beg Ben Simon to put me in.
He'd be ready to hit someone.
Yeah, I would get killed, but I'd have a smile on my face.
No score, opening period. Wings are attacking left to right. Along the far wing into the corner. It's played around the boards by Detroit. Hustling over to hold it in, Walter Flower. Steers it deeper into the corner. Little bumping along the corner boards. Flower holds it in again. He's softened up with a body check and the play whistled down as it's offside.
Hey, Ken, let me ask you a question, because obviously you've covered Stanley Cup championship teams. Even though these young men had nothing really to do with St. Louis winning the Cup, but they have to have a pride factor. I mean, they know that they're playing for an organization that is at the top of their game, so I would imagine that in itself has to be incentive.
Of course, and they want to create a culture there.
Right.
Good culture.
Exactly. They want to, establish habits. I mean, why did the Red Wings qualify for the playoffs 25 consecutive seasons? Should have been 26. The league didn't shut itself down. Is because of the culture that they've created, and that's really important. If you talk to any Red Wings player, whether it be Dylan Larkin or the recently retired Nick Cromwell, they talk about continuing the winning tradition and the culture that has been set in that room.
Wings had an opportunity moments ago, and now it's back down the ice into the Detroit end. No score first period. Scooping it up along the left wing, Gustav Lindstrom plays it ahead to center ice. Kufner, who had a goal yesterday to open the scoring for Detroit, handles it inside the Red Wing zone. Detroit's in the middle of a change. Out at center, Duquette. Lost it. Balmas moves in with a shot, and that's off the stick of the Red Wing defender, Owen Lalonde, into the protective netting.
Now, we have a great vantage point here at Center Ice Arena. We're really right on top of the play. But I have to say that the first two games that we've seen, I give credit to both teams. Last night, the Blackhawks and the Wings. Today, the Wings and the Blues. The pace of this game seems really, really quick, really, really fast. A lot of high energy. These teams are really going after one another.
So far, the Blues have had more possession of the puck in the Detroit zone. Out to center ice. Here is Washkurik up across the line. Makes his way in on Duquette. Tried to center it. Broken up. Javonni Smith lugs it out to center. Plays it into the St. Louis zone. It ends up in behind the goal. McPherson to pick it up for St. Louis. Turned it over. Pearson with a centering attempt. Now gets a whack at it off to the side of the goal, and it's kicked away by Ellis.
Good physical play there by Javonni to follow that puck in.
And there's Peach Pearson again, who was off to the side of the goal with an opportunity on a wraparound, then tried to get the second effort behind Ellis.
Well, again, Peach Pearson is a guy that, and hopefully his family listening out there, they like that name. But, obviously he's a leader, Ken. We talked about it last night. 2 years captain of the University of Maine Black Bears. So he, again, is one of those guys, high hockey IQ, thinks the game well, and obviously teammates gravitate to him because he's such a leader type of guy.
Matthew Bizier out there for Detroit. Played the Quebec League. He had 39 points last season, 32 penalty minutes. He's one of those free agent invitees.
Right, and he's a guy that did not play last night, so obviously he's got to make the most of every opportunity he has today.
No score opening period as the Blues bring it out of their own zone, lifting it out to center. Morgan intercepting for Detroit. Wheels it off the boards. Flower after it. Ellis handles it. Plays it away from an oncoming wing up the near side. LaFerriere has it at center ice. He's converged upon by Bizier and Regula. Morgan taps it off the stick of Maurice Cider, and that one deeper into the St. Louis zone. Blues will control. That's Walter Flower. Not a Kyle Tucker. Tucker lifts that puck out to center. Das 2 is hit along the far boards, and Joe Valeno will pick it up. That was a glove feed, and the play whistled down. Well, last night, Daniela and Art, we had some good up and down action, but it seems there's a lot of whistles here in the early goings of this one.
Yes, so far it has been that way. We have seen a lot of Maurice Cider, too. I think he's been out there 2-3 times already, so he might be playing. His legs might still feel fresh.
Yeah, well, I would expect that from him. I think that, obviously, if he does reach a level where he loses his legs, we're going to know because he's just going to collapse on the ice. I think he should be pretty good, pretty fine.
Red Wings take on the Toronto Maple Leafs tomorrow, and then on Tuesday it's the championship games, and those are early starts. If you're not in the championship game, the first game's at 12 noon.
Well, usually, and this goes to show you the power that Ken Cowley wields. He was able to change some of the games. Was it last year's tournament so you could watch your beloved Honolulu Blue and Silver Gridiron Gladiators?
Well, there's an off day tomorrow.
I was just going to say, yeah, the game against the Leafs is actually on Monday, so we're off tomorrow.
Well, I think that
I'm going to have to get that game with Ken.
That was the case. It was a Monday night game, and Ken went to Ken Holland and made him change the game, which Ken did.
I think that was a smart move.
Christensen from center rifles that puck in. It's off the stick of the Red Wing netminder Romeo into the corner, and Veleno will pick it up for Detroit. Steering it ahead, Hirose up the left side. Not the center ice. Hirose into the St. Louis zone, fires the puck around the boards and into the right corner. Here's Zadina picking it up. Boy, he had a golden opportunity late in the game to win it for Detroit. Shot up by Dastu off a leg, deflects deeper into the corner. Veleno with a bouncing puck, couldn't control it. Balmas has it for St. Louis, feeds it out to center off the stick of Gustav Lindstrom. Right to Veleno, not as Zadina. Zadina took a whack at it. Veleno sidestepped the check, trying to line him up. That was Jake Christensen, the defender of St. Louis. Reinke taps that puck. Christensen laid it up the left wing boards and out to center ice. Balmas plays it into the Red Wing zone. Wallon looks over his right shoulder, scooping it up as the Blues are making a change on the go. No score opening period, 12:50 to play in the first. Puck tapped away from Joshua at center, the St. Louis forward, and behind the Blues goal. In after it for Detroit. That is Elmer Soderblom, the tall forward. Toropchenko with a check on him. McPherson scooping it up behind the St. Louis net, worked it up the wall. Kufner is knocked down. The play is still inside the zone. And now McPherson playing it across as the Blues settle it down.
As opposed to last night's game, I think there's a little more physicality to this game, too. Both teams are, and the fact is they both have to win this game, so they vamped it up.
Not a lot of time and space out there for sure, as Kufner will tap that puck into the St. Louis zone. That'll allow Detroit to change on the go. No score first period as the Blues bring it forward. Toropchenko got that puck into the Red Wing zone. Cider handles it for Detroit, now to Lucas Savages. Scored in yesterday's game. Puck rolls off his stick. Alexandrov in the corner, steers it to Tucker in behind the net. Cleared it up the boards. There's a pinch by Cider to keep it in. Good pinch by Cider. We talked about him making those types of pinches in the pregame show. Bodies falling all over the place as Smith lays that puck into the corner. Pearson with a shot, sticked away by Colton Ellis, and now it comes out to center ice. Blues work it into the Red Wing zone. It's tapped back out to center ice. Red Wings settle it down. Cider. Not a Regula. Swings it across to Cider again. Jackson forechecking for the Blues. Cider takes it behind his own goal. Steers it up the right side to Robinson. And he's got a lot of speed, and we see it right now out at center ice. Flips that puck ahead. Robinson has it again after the feed. Tapped it in behind the St. Louis goal. And Robinson was that player we were talking about in development camp that was just flying all over the ice. He's got a lot of good legs and good speed for a Red Wing forward.
And certainly in today's NHL, that's what you need.
No score opening period here at Traverse City. 10:34 to go in the first period. Lindstrom with a feed pass across, and Robinson will dump it in behind the St. Louis net. Christensen out to center ice. Plays it into the Detroit end. Going after it is Lindstrom and the forward, Clem Costin of St. Louis. Steering it across. Here's Christensen into the corner. Shot short side, and that's off the goaltender. LaFerriere got it to the right side. McPherson with a shot through traffic, ends up in behind the Red Wing goal. Along the near wing, picking it up. That's Taro Hirose. Now LaFerriere holds it in. Got it around the far boards. Steers that puck down low behind the goal. Dastu chipped it forward for Gustav Lindstrom, but he was covered. Hirose trying to jam the puck free. The Blues come away with it, though. St. Louis a bit dangerous in the Red Wing end. Here's a wrist shot off a body. Comes out to center ice. Now backpedaling McPherson into his own end to lay it up the right side. Hirose intercepting a pass. Got it out to the blue line. Now it comes back to Taro Hirose, who skates out to center ice. Stick handles away from Balmas, drops it back to Joe Valeno. Pass into the high slot, broken up, and Balmas out to center ice, flips that puck, and that went into the Detroit bench along the near wing.
Well, certainly Detroit's top line was out there in Valeno, Zadina, and Hirose, and they didn't look bad playing a little bit of defense, which they were forced to do. I'm sure the Red Wings would like to see them be more in the offensive zone, but slowly but surely the Red Wings have to find their offensive game here and start to dominate the play and have some setup time, offensive zone time, because they really haven't had much going on that way, although defensively they look pretty sound.
Here's Lalonde, the Red Wing defenseman, making his way out to center, shoots it in on goal. That's off the shoulder of Colton Ellis and deflects into the protective netting behind him.
Yeah, we've talked about time and space and a close checking game and the physicality being ramped up in this game, and I think it's reflected by the shots on goal, which are 4-3 at this point. In favor of St. Louis, and they've had power plays. The Red Wings have not had a power play.
We were talking about Mitchell Balmas. He was on that last shift for the St. Louis Blues. He, not a big player. He's 168 pounds, played in the Quebec League for Cape Breton last year. He had 82 points, so he is a point getter. Mitchell Balmas for St. Louis. We'll keep an eye on him.
Wow, 168 pounds takes us back to our elementary school days, Ken.
Here's Lalonde up over the St. Louis blue line, but Kufner was a stride offside and the play whistled down. So we've had a little bit of a choppy start here in the opening period. Still no score in the game. 8 minutes, 41 seconds to play in the first.
Yeah, I don't think it's because the teams are playing tentative, because there's a lot riding on this game as far as the tournament goes. I just think that both teams are really playing sound forecheck game, and that's what we're seeing at this point. But hopefully somebody can break through here. We haven't had any breakaways. We haven't had really a whole lot going on. But some good, solid, sound defensive hockey.
Pearson, Smith, and Lucas Savages, the forwards out there for Detroit at the moment. Cider in the corner, tapping that puck around the near wing. Pearson tapping it out to center ice, and the Blues going back after it. Washkurik slides it across, out to center ice. It's tapped into the Detroit zone. Toropchenko trying to chase it down. Regula stepped in front of him. Regula tag teaming along the boards, trying to jam that puck free along the far side as Javonni Smith. Back to the line it comes.
You can see Javonni Smith, that he is a little bit older. He's playing a big physical game. He's usually getting on top of that puck and actually winning a lot of puck battles today, which is good to see, which is something he's going to need to do.
Lucas Savages up the right wing boards, got that puck into the St. Louis end. Ellis stops it as the Red Wings are changing on the go. Bizier out there for Detroit along with Morgan and Robinson. That's two also out there. Gustav Lindstrom, the play is in the Red Wing end.
Right now, St. Louis, though, they've had more time in the offensive zone than the Red Wings have, but the Red Wings have really played pretty well, pretty shut down. St. Louis has been in the zone a lot. They really haven't had a lot of good scoring quality opportunities, and when they have, Romeo's made the stop.
Both teams had 12 shots in the first period in yesterday's game, and now the shot advantage is 4-3 in favor of St. Louis.
And it hasn't really changed that much either as we look at it from the, here we go. Best shot by the Red Wings there.
That's a good opportunity. Matthew Bizier was making his way in and was hit at the last second as the puck comes out to center ice, and the Blues to work that puck into the Red Wing zone.
If you're just joining us, that was by far the Red Wings' best scoring chance in this hockey game.
Absolutely. The Red Wings bring it ahead. Out to center ice. That is Lalonde firing it in. Ellis makes the stick save. Christensen on the rebound, making away from Valeno, tapped it up the right side. Now out to center ice. Hancock couldn't control it. Wings snap it to the St. Louis blue line. It's flipped ahead by Renke into the Detroit zone. Moving in. Balmas with a shot. And the save made by the Red Wing netminder, Sean Romeo.
Here we go. The Red Wings, this is the line that's got to get it going.
Zadina, Valeno out there for Detroit along with Hirose. Here is Mo Cider circling in behind his own goal. Out to center ice, flips it up the right wing board. Zadina in pursuit. And the play is whistled down into that St. Louis end.
Zadina not agreeing with that call, saying, hey, we were raced for the puck. I was there.
Well, they're calling it an icing call.
Right,
and
yeah.
play down the ice, now the face-off.
That was a curious call, considering you had both players going for it and they were about even.
5:58 to go, opening period. Good crowd on hand here at Center Ice Arena in this Red Wings Prospect Tournament presented by Huntington Bank. Here's Cider in behind his own goal. Feed pass to Zadina. Flipped it out to Hirose at center ice. He was checked right there. Christensen with the check on Hirose. Stevens bumped. Up across the line. Here's an opportunity. A shot on goal and a save made by Romeo.
He's looked good.
That was a bang-bang play. Good save by the Red Wing netminder. Wings in the high slot in their own zone. Clear that puck to the near wing. That's Gregor McLeod. Back to the blue line. Held in right there by Flower. Tapped it out in front of the goal. The backhand try by LaFerriere. Hit the side of the net.
Yeah, that was labeled for the St. Louis lead 1-0. But sometimes if you're a goaltender, you got to be a little bit lucky. And I think Romeo was lucky there. Because he was prone for it, sprawled out on the ice, so there was no way he was going to get over and make that save.
Hey, sometimes when you're playing well, luck tends to go your way too, right?
You create your own luck,
Exactly.
Daniela. That's exactly right.
Well, LaFerriere saw that wide open net right there, and he wished he could have that one back. He hit the side of the goal.
He and Zadina will be talking about that tonight over a cocktail or two. They both had wide open nets and missed.
Tucker steers the puck down low. Time ticking away. 5:05 to play in the opening period. No score between the Wings and the Blues. Here's a loose puck out in front. They're trying to jam it home. Right out in front of the goal was Toropchenko. Trying to jam it home. He's covered. Shot from the blue line. A screen shot. That one deflected into the corner. Wings clear it up the right side down the ice. That was Walter Flower who shot that puck from the right point.
I'll tell you, the Red Wings' best player so far this game has been Sean Romeo. I mean, he's been under siege a little bit, and I just like the way he just doesn't give up on a play.
He stopped all 7 shots that have been fired at him, and the play whistled down. So there's 4:35 to go here in the first period. No score, and I believe we have a penalty called on the play.
Yes, we do. Now, I think we have a mixed officiating crew here today. I think one of our referees is a woman, which is cool to see.
Well, the Red Wings had 3 power play goals in yesterday's game, but they're not on the power play. I thought they were calling a penalty here, but on the icing call, the referee was just naming names of the players who were on the ice that had to be out.
They had to go back out, right. It did look like, though, it was going to be a penalty call, very similar to that center ice calling.
Jackson for St. Louis bumped it out of midair into the corner in the Detroit end. No score opening period. Alexandrov with a turnaround shot from the right circle wide of the short side of the Red Wing goal. Pagansky has that puck, squeezed it to the line. McPherson a dipping shot. Romeo the pad save, rebound. Lucas Savages dropping it back, and here comes Javonni Smith 3-on-2 over the blue line. Smith left wing shoots the puck, and that one ends up in the corner. Along the near wing, Wings hold it in. Lalonde, he fired it off a player and into the St. Louis players bench along the near wing.
Blues really now shot advantage 8-4. Romeo's been solid in net.
I don't know the exact numbers, but I would think that time of possession heavily favors St. Louis right now, too.
Certainly, at least in the attacking zone.
Yes.
I'm not sure. So one thing that I like about this officiating crew and last night's officiating crew, they know that they're prospects, so in between whistles, they go up to certain players and they're talking to them about, hey, I let you go on this one. I mean, I think they're offering them some, not pointers about their game, obviously, but how the game's being called or what you can and cannot do. And I think they're willing to give them a bit of a break, which is actually good to see, is that they understand that these kids are trying to, this is their livelihood out there. They're trying to impress their respective teams. And, I tip my cap to the officials in what they've been able to do, which is really take certain players aside and kind of give them a little bit of education about how games at this level are going to be called.
All right, ready for a face-off as Pearson is out there with Lucas Savages and Javonni Smith for Detroit. Hancock centering. Keating is out there and Balmus for St. Louis. Shot on goal and the save made by Ellis.
I would say that the Pearson line is the one that Ben Simon feels the most comfortable in. They've been out a lot in this game. They started the game.
Pearson had a couple of opportunities earlier in this contest. Again, we're in the first period. 3:11 to go, scoreless tie. Lalonde, Red Wing defenseman, steers it across and out to center ice Duquette. Tapped it forward, Javonni Smith over the blue line, trying to cut inside on Christensen, who stole the puck away from him. Outlets it to Balmus, and Mitchell Balmus tapping it up the boards. Duquette has it inside the Red Wing zone. Now to Lalonde. Back to center ice, Pearson. Scoots that puck in wide of the St. Louis goal. Blues are in the middle of a change. Christensen scooping it up along the near wing. Tapped it out to center ice, kicking it forward over the line. LaFerriere now to Stevens, to Christensen, moving in on the play was stolen. Bizier with a feed pass, 2-on-1 to Robinson. Robinson shooting, and Ellis made the save. That was really the first odd man opportunity we saw in the St. Louis zone from Detroit. Mo Cider has the puck. Cider making a play, trying to get out in front. It rolls off a stick to the blue line. Alex Regula holds it in, down low, feed pass out in front. Bizier to Cider, and he could not find the puck. Now he's got to retrieve it all the way down the ice in his own end.
I think Mo wanted to do it all on his own, that last play in the zone, and he almost did.
Walter Flower takes a hit along the boards as he backhands it up the wing and out to center ice. Washkurik up across the line with a shot, and that one way wide of the Red Wing net. Joshua with a hit on his man. The puck bounced out to center, and Tucker has it at the St. Louis blue line. Sticked it to Joshua, now to Washkurik into the Red Wing zone, makes his way around the defender, moves in with a chance, and he scores on a good play. And St. Louis, late in the first, has a 1-0 lead.
On their 9th shot on net, just a great play there by the Blues, breaking in.
It was Washkurik who scored the goal for St. Louis to give him the lead.
5th round draft choice, 2019 draft. Keenan Washkurik played for Mississauga of the OHL. Now, not sure he still have a piece of that Mississauga team.
I'm not sure, Art.
I'm sure if he does, he's probably going to put on a special suit today.
18:25, the time of the goal by Washkurik to give the St. Louis Blues the 1-0 lead. Kett knocked his man down. Poganski as the puck rolls into the corner in the Red Wing zone. Poganski with a check on his man along the near wing. It's held in. Here's a shot by Rimshaw. Ooh. Knocked down out in front. It's cleared out to center ice. Rimshaw has it again, and he'll whistle it off the glass and in behind the Red Wing goal.
At this point, the Red Wings just got to settle down, make it through this period, because St. Louis obviously has a little more energy and a jump scoring that goal.
Here's Zadina winding it up at his own blue line, trying to make something happen late in the first period. Steers that puck around the boards and behind the goal. And the play whistled down. We got a penalty call coming up as it's made by the official in the corner. Interference will be the penalty. And it looks like the guilty party is number 39, Mitch Renke, the defenseman for the Blues.
The benches are on our side of the ice, so we're not really sure when there is a penalty called who's going, because all the players are skating back to their bench. Sometimes we're not even sure which team is getting the penalty on, but obviously St. Louis, they had possession of the puck and they called it.
Well, the Red Wings had 3 power play goals in yesterday's game. Let's see what they can do here in the closing moments. Cider to Zadina. Fired the shot. Ellis the save, the rebound. Javonni Smith in the corner. Half a minute to go, first period, 1-0 Blues.
I'm pretty sure Zadina's going to, as soon as he gets that puck, he's just going to think shoot, shoot, shoot this whole game.
Zadina passed it across, broken up by Toropchenko, and he will backhand that puck all the way down the ice into the Detroit end.
Got to have a little more mustard on that if you're going to put that puck across the ice like that.
Here's Taro Hirose into the St. Louis zone, dropping it to Joe Valeno. Now to Smith with a bouncing puck. To Mo Cider. 4 seconds to go in the period. Zadina with a shot. Redirected! Oh, and that almost went in as Hirose, I believe, got a stick on it right out in front of the goals. The period comes to a close.
A little bit of Javonni Smith trying to make a statement here at the end of the game. The Red Wings are going to have a minute 19 on the power play. They're going to have fresh ice. So big power play opportunity still coming up in the second period. Red Wings came on late, only 9-8 in shots. So not a bad period by Detroit, but St. Louis, I think you've got to say that they were a bit better team.
We've got a 1-0 game here. St. Louis with the edge. This is the NHL Prospects Tournament stream presented by Huntington Bank. We're going to go to a short break. We will be right back. Welcome back to the NHL Prospects Tournament stream presented by Huntington Bank. I'm Daniela Bruce. Ken Kale is here with me, and guys, we are joined by a very special guest. We've got Assistant General Manager for the Detroit Red Wings and General Manager of the Grand Rapids Griffins, Ryan Martin. Ryan, first of all, thanks for being on with us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Yes, of course. So just to get things off, why don't you describe the importance of this Prospects Tournament as a whole?
Well, it's the 21st year of the tournament, and I think it's the best tournament in the league. It's one of the originals. 8 teams here, so it's the largest number of NHL organizations in one spot. And you can see that the scouts in the building. There's 4 games a day. It's a chance to watch, 8 organizations, players, basically 24 and under, their best prospects. So it's a phenomenal opportunity for management groups and scouts to get together to evaluate their own players against the best of the rest and to watch other organizations. And then certainly, for our own purposes, it's a real good opportunity to get a look at some of the guys that are going to be first-year pros in Grand Rapids, some of the guys that had played a year pro, and you want to see where they're at, and then some free agents as well as draft picks. So it really it's a multifaceted in terms of the opportunity to evaluate players.
Ryan, you had a chance to watch the game last night, obviously, against the Chicago Blackhawks. You've seen some of the players that participated in the development camp in June. But anybody catch your eye so far after 4 periods of play?
Well, I thought Mo looked really good, and part of that is I'd never seen Cider play. Steve and the amateur staff obviously saw him play quite a bit, so that was a real nice to watch him play. I thought he was very, very good. I thought Joe Veleno played well. Joe's put in a lot of time in the off season, living in Detroit on his own and training, and I thought he had a good game. Ryan Kufner and Taro Hirose, you can see, part of it, they're a little older than some of the kids here, but also they've got NHL experience, so I thought those two guys stood out. So it was good to get a look at some of those guys. Some of the players that are signed just to American League deals. Jared Lukasevicius, had a goal last night, and one called back too. I thought he showed pretty well. So.
And you mentioned Taro Hirose and Ryan Kufner, who obviously came up and played a stint with the Red Wings there at the end of the season. When you watch guys like that at this camp who are a little bit older, as you mentioned, what is the difference in watching them compared to an 18-year-old, 19-year-old like Mo Cider?
Yeah, that's I think we look at it, the scouting eye, we look at it sort of the opposite. And the 18 and 19-year-olds that look really good in this tournament, that's something really special. Anthony Mantha played really well at this tournament. Andreas Athanasiou played really well at this tournament. So, I don't know that it's fair. It's still, in essence, a little bit of summer hockey. I don't know if it's necessarily fair to judge the older players on a harder curve, but certainly the younger players that can elevate their play and look good against this level of competition, that's a really good sign. So certainly a great sign that Mo has played as well as he has for the last 4 periods.
We were talking about Javonni Smith in our pregame show here, Ryan, and how important is this prospect tournament for Javonni Smith?
Really, really important. He's a guy, he was great here last year. I mean, this was really what jump-started his training camp. I thought he was one of our best players in last year's tournament. Really consistent, carried it over into the exhibition season, and really earned himself an opportunity to start in a prominent role in Grand Rapids. Ben Simon was around him for this as well as the exhibition season. I think, last night, I don't know that was his best game. I've liked what I've seen out of the first period of Gio so far here. So he's a guy, as a first-year pro, that wants a bigger, more prominent role in Grand Rapids. This is a real important tournament for him to start those steps. Same with Zadina. So that's good. Hopefully he can continue to head in that direction.
Also, Jared Macisaac, I saw him skating, warming up a little bit. He had a little bit of an injury problem. I believe it was a shoulder injury.
Yep.
But he's back skating and shooting now. What's your assessment of Macisaac, and how do you see him fitting into the organization?
Well, we like Jared a lot. He's a really good prospect. Hopefully he'll be back in time for the World Junior. He's obviously a real good candidate for Canada's World Junior team. So that's our hope from our organization's standpoint, is that he's healthy by early December. He can play a few games for a few weeks and then head into the World Junior. I think that'll be a great experience for him. But we really like Jared. He had a very good training camp last year, had a good year when he went back to junior. We feel he's a real good, solid two-way defenseman, very smart player, really competitive. So he checks a lot of boxes, Jared does.
Go back to the draft a little bit. We mentioned Mo Cider, our first-round pick, but that was a deep draft for the Red Wings. Lots of picks. Overall, what were your thoughts on what the Red Wings accumulated?
Well, we got a lot of players. There's certainly a lot of picks. Unfortunately, none of them are here other than Mo, because they, with the tournament. Well, Soderblom and Lundqvist are here because the Swedish team allowed them to come over, which was nice. But when you have that many picks, our scouts obviously did a lot of hard work last year out on the road. It's, as an organization, you'd love to be able to see them all assembled here and playing in this tournament, but because of the rules, the college-bound kids can't play in it, and many of the Europeans aren't released as well. So, but certainly, another 10 prospects into the pool, and guys that Dan Cleary and Sean Horkoff can work with.
One final question. I know goaltending down the road for Detroit is something that I know you guys are looking at. It's too bad that Phillip Larsson couldn't play in this tournament because he's injured, but what's your assessment of Phillip Larsson, and what are your expectations for him this season going forward?
Well, yeah, Phillip had a really good year at the University of Denver last year. Our hope was that he was going to be able to be the starter in this tournament. I think this would have been a really good opportunity for him to grab the ball and go with it. And, unfortunately, he did suffer a little bit of an injury about a week and a half ago. He's supposed to be ready right around day one of camp. Hopefully that's the case. But, he's out on the ice, he's training, and, we've signed a veteran that we expect will probably be in Grand Rapids with him, somebody that can be a really good mentor, and Calvin Pickard, somebody that can help him along because he's still a young goalie, and he's going to need some mentorship down there. But we really like Phillip. He's a really good prospect for us.
Well, Ryan, thank you so much for joining us. We're going to let you get back to doing your job and watching these prospects here. You got a lot of tournament left to watch, don't you?
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yes,
Thanks,
thank
Ryan.
you. Thank you. Guys, we'll be right back. Welcome back to the 2019 NHL Prospects Tournament stream presented by Huntington Bank. I'm Daniela Bruce alongside Art Regner and Ken Kale. Guys, they're about to drop the puck on this second period. Ken, why don't you take it away and start it with what do you want to see different out of this Red Wings team?
Well, they start the period on a power play for 1 minute and 19 seconds. We talked about the power play being the bread and butter of the Red Wings yesterday in the game against Chicago. Detroit did have one scoring opportunity before the end of the period. So, Art, it looks like we'll see the top unit out there to start on a fresh sheet of ice.
Well, certainly. I couldn't agree more with you, Ken. I mean, this is an opportunity for the Red Wings with franchise at minute 19. They've got to establish something. They really didn't establish much attacking time in the offensive zone in the first period. Let's see what they can do here in the second period, especially with the man advantage.
Here's Cider at the left point. Wings trying to tie it up to Hirose down low. Javonni Smith tried to lay it out in front. It was broken up now up the right side. Hirose, good play to hold it in. Veleno checked in along the corner boards, got it around the net to Smith. Smith in the far corner, got it to Zadina, back to Smith to the side of the goal. Power move in front. He tried to shovel it home. Good play, but the save was made by Ellis. Wings hold it in again. Zadina. 34 seconds to go in the Red Wing man advantage, and now Veleno tried to thread the needle. Christensen broke it up and shoots it down the ice. Quick feed by the Red Wing netminder, Romeo, to get it up ice to Zadina. Zadina winds up, charges over the St. Louis line. 3 men back for the Blues. Zadina pulls up outside rim of the right circle, saucers it over to Gustav Lindstrom. He was body checked by Poganski. It comes back to the line. Lindstrom has it again. Now down low, it comes back to Destus. Over to the right side. Lindstrom with a shot. It's blocked. Rebound cleared all the way down the ice by the Blues. And that'll lead up to remaining time on the power play. And St. Louis is at full strength.
Best chance for the Red Wings was Javonni Smith's move. But as Ken said, Ellis made the save. But hopefully the Red Wings can build off it.
Yeah, Smith made a nice move there, Art and Daniela. Not a lot of room to maneuver, but he did get a good opportunity to score.
Well, like we said, he should be used to a quick turnaround playing for GR last year. So I expect him to get stronger as this game goes on, is where maybe some of the other guys might wear down a bit because this is a quick turnover game.
Blues lead 1-0 on the first period goal by Washkurek. Dastu to pick up the puck calmly in his own zone. Cuts out in front of his goaltender Romeo, and now Soderblom has it for Detroit. Stick handles over the St. Louis line. Shot taken left side by Duquette, and that's stopped in front of the goaltender. Now here's a shot right out in front by Soderblom, and a quick pad save made by the goaltender Ellis. Another good opportunity for Detroit. Toropchenko is knocked down along the end boards. Javonni Smith giving Toropchenko a little rough ride, and now he comes up the right wing boards with it. Carries over the line, moves into the St. Louis zone. Swung it across. Pearson with a wrist shot, and Ellis the save.
I'll tell you, Javonni obviously seems to be getting stronger, as I said, making good plays all over the puck. A lot of high energy by him. You know, Soderblom, another play different positions, but he actually has the same body type. Reminds me of what Zdeno Chara looked like when he played for the Islanders. When he fills out, he could be a very impressive specimen on the ice, and I know the Red Wings a lower draft pick, but still kind of like what they see in him. And I just want to say I thought both of you did a great job with Ryan Martin, the Red Wings assistant general manager. I mean, he's the GM of Grand Rapids and also a special consultant to the Toledo Walleye. So he has a very critical eye on this, and I thought that he gave great insightful answers to your very good questions.
Yep, he knows these players, that's for sure, as the Blues shoot it in. Morgan will pick it up and feather it just out of the reach of Lucas Savages. And this will be an icing call against Detroit. So we were talking yesterday, not many icings in that game against Chicago, but we've had a handful here this afternoon.
Well, right. I mean, if this were last night, we'd already be at the start of the third period, and we're only at 16:49 of the second.
Blues lost yesterday 6-2 to the Maple Leafs. Red Wings lost a heartbreaker to the Chicago Blackhawks 5-4 in overtime.
Well, I'm sure Caden Folter still has nightmares about Boquist's goal that beat him in OT, but that was just a supreme player making an excellent play.
Now moving in, a quick snapper by Klim Kostin off to the side of the goal. Romeo the save up the right side. Lucas Savages to tap it to the St. Louis line. Chipped back out the center, and Lucas Savages to dump it in. Turning with it quickly, that is Renke, the defenseman for the Blues.
I got to say, I am impressed with the crowds that have shown up. I know, granted, it's a weekend, Friday and Saturday the Red Wings have played here. Tournament began, but this place is standing room only. And they've all collective sigh. If you heard that in the first period, that was the final score of the Michigan game.
And most of these fans will be staying for the later game tonight here in this arena.
Yeah, we unfortunately will not. Ken has he's game planning with Matt Patricia and his staff for tomorrow's game.
Yeah, and I'm busy watching Sparty later.
Against Western. Hey, don't sleep on him. I mean,
I'm not. Trust me, I never do. I've learned my lesson with that one.
Yeah, the Broncos are a pretty formidable team.
Grimshaw in behind his own goal. Now he moves into the corner with a check on Taro Hirose. McPherson turning away from a Valeno check. Worked it out to center ice. Zadina after it for Detroit. Sweeps it across to Gustav Lidstrom. Now to Das2, the Red Wing defenseman.
I mean,
Das2 out to center ice. Drops it back to Lindstrom. Red Wings regroup. Taro Hirose with the feed. Pass right circle. Das2 moving over the line. Into the slot to Joe Valeno. And he tried to get the shot away, and he was bothered in the shooting position.
Didn't mean to step on you there, Ken, but this is a line that's got to get it going, much like they did in the second period of last night's game. Detroit's top line's got to make it go.
Taro Hirose backhands the puck in behind the St. Louis net. Tucker laid it up the left wing boards. And now at the center ice. Here they come. Balmas over the Detroit line. Blindly played it right on the stick of Duquette. Now a race for the puck. Hirose trying to catch the Blues on a change. Pulls up to the trailer. Soderblom with a shot off the defender of the Blues and almost into the net. Wings may have got some help right there.
Right, they really did. That was a good opportunity for Detroit.
Now a race for the puck. Romeo plays it, nullifying the icing call. There was kind of a foot race for the puck there. And now Lalonde for the Red Wings along the end boards. Bothered by a couple of St. Louis players. Along the far boards, that's Alexandrov. Puck is squeezed down the ice. No icing call. And the play at Ellis, the goaltender for St. Louis.
I think they must have heard you about the icing calls, Ken.
They've waved off a few here.
Yeah, they have. Mr. Carroll's telling us he doesn't like the icing. We're not going to call it.
Here's Mo Cider on the attack into the St. Louis zone. Drop pass, Kufner to Cider with a redirect just wide of the goal. We got to love that defenseman continuing to go to the net, and Cider almost made Ellis pay. Here's a shot by Soderblom, and that one was blocked. Rebound goes into the corner. Kufner, who had a goal yesterday, squeezed it in front, a shot, and that one was knocked away by Ellis, and the rebound comes out to center ice.
Well, much like yesterday, I have to say the start to the second period looks a lot better for the Red Wings.
Yeah, they're starting to generate some offensive chances. They didn't have many in the first period.
Now we got a whistle, and behind the play, a penalty has been called. That last opportunity was by Gregor McLeod, the Red Wing forward, who had the shot on goal. Looks like Walter Flower might be getting the gate for the St. Louis Blues.
Or he's dejectedly skating back to his own bench. We have a tough time telling from our vantage point.
Right above the benches.
Right, exactly.
Difficult.
They're all coming towards us no matter what. So,
mentioned Gregor McLeod. He is 183 pounds, 6 foot, and he's from Dartmouth, Nova Scotia. He had the last scoring chance for Detroit. Played for Drummondville last year. Pretty good season, 84 points with 35 goals.
Soderblom also had a couple of chances there, and Ryan Martin talked about him a bit and how it was cool that he got to come back from playing in the Swedish League to partake in this tournament.
Right, exactly. He and Berglund both, and the Red Wings have, because people are saying, well, why isn't, some of the other European prospects here when the two Swedes were? They got permission to be in this tournament, and they're going to go right back to Sweden. Now, a lot of rules and regulations. Obviously, if you're looking for any of the college Red Wings collegians, they can only partake because of NCAA rules. They can only partake in the development camp, and that's it.
Well, the Red Wings are on the power play. Flower off in the penalty box for St. Louis, and here's Hirose. Wings trying to tie it up. Now to Valeno with a shot, and Ellis made the save, and the rebound is cleared all the way down the ice by the St. Louis Blues.
I got a feeling that Valeno's going to pop one in here.
He had 2 goals yesterday. Blues work it from center right back in. Mo Cider has it for Detroit. Prepares the breakout. Trapchenko out there for the Blues trying to stop Cider, who brings it out to center ice. Down to the trailer. Hirose into the St. Louis zone. Chris crosses over. Pass to Javonni Smith. Now to Zadina. Down low into the corner for Hirose. to Zadina. Quick look to the blue line. Instead shovels it down low to Hirose. Veleno was squeezing in. Now Veleno sets up into the high slot. Pass comes to Cider at the line with a shot redirected in front. Rimshaw picks up the loose puck for St. Louis and dishes it all the way down the ice.
Now they're getting close.
Lucas Savages on a change now on the power play. Javonni Smith works his way in on Jackson, roughs him up a little bit. Lucas Savages was hit along the far boards by River Rimshaw. Smith knocked down off to the side of the goal, and the loose puck finally played down the ice by the forward Jackson and into the Detroit end.
Well, something's going on.
And the play is stopped inside that Red Wing end.
I don't know what exactly happened there, but the whole Red Wing bench we could hear from up here were screaming.
31 seconds left in the Red Wing man advantage, and a face-off coming up circle to the right of Colton Ellis, the goaltender for the Blues. Colton Ellis, 6'1", 187 pounds. He is from Nova Scotia, played in the Quebec League last year. His record 27-15-0, and he had a .910 save percentage.
I'll tell you, Danny Cleary was like the only Maritime hockey player. It seems that the Maritimes are catching up with the rest of Canada, is producing some NHL talent.
Well, the Red Wings on the back end of the power play.
Looks like a 5-on-3.
Yep, Cider misfires. You're right, Daniela. The penalty was against the Blues, so the Wings have a short two-man advantage for 16 seconds.
Well, they had a longer 5-on-3 and did not capitalize, but they did on the 4-on-5 yesterday, so.
All right, Red Wings have it inside the St. Louis end. McLeod, right circle feed, a one-time shot by Kufner. He scores!
There you go. That's what Ryan Kufner, that's Princeton's all-time leading scorer. You saw it there. He didn't have much time. He got the shot off, and we're suddenly tied up.
You got to be impressed with Ryan Kufner, too. I know we talk a lot about how he was up with the Red Wings for that 10-game stint there at the end of the season and didn't really produce like we expected him to, but we saw him produce in development camp, and he's producing here at this tournament so far.
And that's exactly right, Daniela. We talked about confidence in. Yeah, even though it was development camp, he scored a couple of goals, and you can tell that kind of settled him down a little bit. The good thing about that was it did come 5-on-3, so the Red Wings now still have a minute 29 on the power play, and that has been their bread and butter these first two games of the Prospects Tournament. 3 power play goals last night and a power play goal here, 5-on-3. So,
you look at his goals that he scored. Yesterday it was along the left wing, and it was a nice shot that beat the goaltender Gravel. And today that shot was from alongside the goal line that beat the goaltender Ellis.
Well, obviously it was 4-on-5 because there's 5 Blues out on the ice, so they finally took it down. Boy, I'll tell you, they just must have just scored as soon as that first penalty expired then, Ken.
That's 4 power play goals for the Red Wings in 2 games so far, and so the bread and butter, as you've described, Art, for the Red Wings, the man advantage has paid dividends, and the Red Wings penalty killers have done a good job too.
Well, their power play has been coast to coast, as smooth as toast. Was that it?
Coast to coast like buttered toast.
Oh yeah, okay.
You're getting it.
I thought you would never forget that one, Art.
It was a long night. I actually slept, which for me is crazy.
Veleno Zadina out there for Detroit. Along with Hirose, Destu with a shot from the left point, and that one wide of the St. Louis goal. So the Red Wings have tied it up. We're halfway through the second period, and the game is tied 1-1.
Hopefully this will settle the Red Wings down a little bit, and they'll be able to find their offensive game.
Veleno over the line, feed pass in front for Hirose, who made a beeline to the left goal post, and he just couldn't control the feed.
Like Joe's thinking there, he made the right play, just a little off.
Gustav Lindstrom sidesteps the check, drops it down into the corner. Now feed to Hirose, now to the player Bizier, and the Wings score! Somehow that puck was loose in the goal crease. It was jammed home, and the Red Wings with 2 quick ones now have a 2-1 lead.
Very reminiscent of what happened in the second period last night. Red Wings starting to find their game, especially offensively.
Wait and see who gets credit for the goal, but that happened in a goal mouth scramble, and it's always nice to get players in front of the net to cause havoc, and the Red Wings have taken the lead 2-1.
And this crowd is on their feet chanting.
So Kufner scores the power play goal at 8:37. Then at 9:42, the Red Wings get the go-ahead goal. We'll get to the official call in a moment. So again, like they did yesterday, they came from behind. The Red Wings have done it twice now in the second period of both games. Morgan feed pass over the line to Robinson. He just could not control that feed as the puck comes out to center ice, and the Blues bring it back. Hancock tapped it over the Red Wing line. It's intercepted by Joe Veleno. Tried to toe drag the puck, lost it. Here's a shot, a turnaround drive right there by Balmus, and that one sails wide of the target. Red Wings with 2 quick ones, and they've got the lead. 2-1 over the Blues. Balmus moves in with a shot from the right circle, and the save made by Romeo, and the Red Wings now tap it out of harm's way and down into the St. Louis end.
Blues only at 11 shots on net, so the Red Wings have tightened it up. Granted, they've had to kill off some penalties, they being St. Louis, but the Red Wings slowly but surely, as Kenny said, starting to take over this hockey game a little bit, much reminiscent of what they did last night against the Chicago Blackhawks when they trailed 4-1 heading into the second and had it tied up by the end of the second, 4-4 this time. Red Wings ahead 2-1, 9:16 left in the second period.
And that goal was scored by Cody Morgan in that goal mouth scramble out there. So Cody Morgan gets the goal at 9:42.
You know what I like about Ben Simon here? He's just rewarding the guys that are playing hard, the high energy guys, and as a good coach should. But we're seeing a lot of. I think everyone's ice time today, can correct me if I'm wrong, has been pretty much spread out evenly, and that's a testament to how these kids are playing.
Yeah, Mo Cider hasn't played as much as he played in last night's game. At least it doesn't seem like it.
No, you're absolutely right. He's out there again now.
Red Wings slowly taking control of this game. Cider hustles over to hold it in. Good feed to Lucas Savages. Now Regula at the left point throws it into the corner off of Lucas Savage's stick to Pearson.
It's the subtle plays that he
Pass
makes.
in front. Javonni Smith scores. Javonni Smith, who's had some chances in the game, makes it 3-1 Detroit.
What are you going to say, Art?
I was just going to say, I just thought, just because of again, last year in GR, if you look at those AHL schedules, they play a lot of games in a short period of time. He should excel, and it's good to see him get a goal. I think that he's been consistently good this whole game. He's high energy, he's been hitting people, and he made a nice play that didn't result in the goal earlier in the first period. That was just a nice play there by Javonni Smith, by the Red Wings in general. Red Wings starting to come on. I will say Romeo has a Ohio State Buckeye logo on his helmet. That will have to change very quickly.
He's allowed to wear it, Art, okay? You got to cut the kids
I mean, it's red, but please.
Well, the Red Wings have scored 3 goals in less than a 3-minute span, and so they've taken that 2-goal lead right now. So Kufner, Morgan, and Javonni Smith with the goals for the Red Wings.
Blues called a timeout here, trying to regroup. Good move there by the St. Louis coaching staff. You don't want it. They're young players. They're trying to be impressive. They got blown out last night, so 6-2 by the Leafs. So right now, I think St. Louis trying to put a lid on it, calming the guys down, saying, hey, we're still in this game. There's 8:31 left to go here in the second period. We're only down by 2. However, we've given up 3 goals in a short amount of time, as Ken's pointed out. So Red Wings have to be feeling good about themselves. And once again, they, the second period has been good and kind of the Red Wings, much like it was last night against the Blackhawks.
We were talking with Ryan Martin in the intermission, and he was talking about the play of Jared Lucas Savages, and he has certainly played well even today, and I believe, Lucas Savages picked up an assist on that goal by Smith, and he had a goal in yesterday's game, so he's played well.
Ken, I don't know what it is about Lucas Savages, but I think it goes back to development camp. You just like that kid. There's something about him that you just, which is cool. I mean, you've seen something from him early on in development camp, and it has carried over.
He's a little bit of an older player, so maybe that's some of the difference here in this Prospects Tournament against younger guys, but certainly he's around the puck and making plays, and now we've got a whistle and a penalty call coming up to Detroit, so the Blues will go on the power play with 8:08 to go in the second period. Red Wings leading by a pair, 3-1 over the Blues.
Well, certainly this is an opportunity for St. Louis to get back into this hockey game. Not that they're out of it, as I said, there's still plenty of time to go. But the Red Wings slowly but surely have been taking this hockey game over. I think it started with the fact that they had a power play to begin, then it turned into a 5-on-3 to begin the second period. So right now, St. Louis, if they want to make sure to stop the bleeding, so to speak, they should capitalize on this golden chance for them.
S2 is the guilty party. Red Wings Veleno short-handed up the right wing wall, skates into the St. Louis zone, cuts inside, got the wrist shot away, and the save was made by Ellis, and that was a good wrister by Joe Veleno.
He knew exactly what he was going to do. Smart, heady player.
Rossi and Veleno up front on this power play for the St. Louis Blues. Christensen did not hold it in. Took the shot. Red Wings don't like it, but the play is whistled down.
Joe Veleno was going to say something. Referee got into him because he was going to skate right over to Christensen and say, hey, dude, do you know what a whistle means?
It was close, but definitely that puck went over the blue line as he shot it in.
I just want to mention, did I ever mention that Veleno's one of our bloggers? Sorry, shameless plug.
Mo Cider got it to Lucas Savages with a wrist shot, and that one gloved off by Ellis. So Lucas Savages with another opportunity, this time shorthanded.
Not quite looking like they're shorthanded right now.
St. Louis making a change as Balmas comes out onto the ice in their power play with LaFerriere. Costin is out there and Stevens as well.
Well, another interesting thing that we should bring up, this is the first time, although when they led 2-1, but the Red Wings have been playing with a lead in this tournament. So let's see how they handle that.
That's a good point, Art, as LaFerriere brings that puck up across the line and makes his way down low, centers it out in front, and that one's off a skate almost into the open side of the Red Wing goal.
Yeah, I've been impressed with Romeo. I really have. He hasn't seen a whole lot of action in the second period, except for his goalie mask. This kid is top-notch in my book.
Blues have only 3 shots on goal in the second period. LaFerriere with a centering attempt, and that one off a stick and into the protective netting along the far boards from our broadcast location. So apparently went off a Red Wing stick, and that'll keep the face-off deep in the Red Wing end.
Right now, St. Louis is starting to take a little bit extracurricular activity with some of the Red Wings, trying to bait them into penalties, especially to get a 5-on-3. But the Red Wings playing a good, patient game, not trying to get into any of the shenanigans that the Blues obviously want to see the Red Wings get into.
You're watching the Red Wings Prospect Tournament presented by Huntington Bank. Blues on the power play for 45 seconds. They have possession in the Red Wing zone. Here's Poganski moving into the right circle to the line. Shot by Renicky, and that one wide of the goal. And the Wings will tap it out to center ice.
St. Louis, really, they still have 28 seconds left in this power play opportunity. Trying to get back into this hockey game. They score. St. Louis does score. Nice play there. You've got to give them credit. Wide open man, went up high. Not much Romeo could do on that one.
It was a centering pass in front, and I believe it was Austin Poganski who got the goal as he fired it upstairs, and it's a 1-goal game. Detroit 3 and St. Louis 2. 6:28 to play in the second period.
Let's see what happens now. Are the Red Wings going to be able to stop it here and regain the momentum of the game, because they have been the better team in the second period. Yet, as a good play by St. Louis, they needed to get a power play goal. We talked about it, and they did. They've got themselves right back in it. 3-2. We should have a great remainder of the second and a really competitive third period based on the way these teams have gone after each other this afternoon.
Poganski played for San Antonio in the American Hockey League, 59 games last year, 31 points. And now a whistle again in that Red Wing end. 13:38 the time of the goal by St. Louis.
And as everyone knows, the AHL, the Grand Rapids Griffins fans that are listening today too, and I've been to Grand Rapids obviously numerous times to look at some of the Red Wing prospects down there. AHL, second best league in the world. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, if you can put up some points in that league, you're doing a hell of a job.
Well, it certainly is a tough league, and
it is.
You got to fight for every inch of real estate in that league.
Yeah, because those are guys that are, they're knocking on the door, so to speak. And some of them have been up in the league and, trying to make sure that they'll get another chance. So it's highly competitive, good brand of hockey, and extremely physical league, I think I would say.
In case you're tuning in, it was 1-0 St. Louis, and the Red Wings stormed back with 3 goals. A power play goal by Kufner. Morgan and Javonni Smith adding goals to make it 3-1 just moments ago. Poganski connecting to make it a 1-goal game. 3-2. There is 6:18 to go in the second period. Alexandrov in for the faceoff against Soderblom of Detroit. Wings win the draw. Mo Cider has it in behind the Red Wing goal. Out to center ice. Pass misses Robinson. Tucker after the puck with Soderblom. It's steered up the wing. Blues fail to clear it out. Cider holds it in and drills it into the corner. Forces the D-man to pick it up for the Blues. That's Jackson. Steering it up across the Red Wing blue line. Cider has it for Detroit. Hands it off to Alec Regula. Regula moves away from a check. Steers it up the left wing out to center ice. Now Regula got it to Mo Cider. Saucers it forward to Robinson, who makes his way out to center ice for the Wings. Up across the line, tapped it into the corner. Tucker goes after it. Robinson is bumped by Tucker as it's dug loose. Jackson didn't clear it out, held in at the line by Lindstrom. Gustav Lindstrom slings it across to Dastus with a shot, and Soderblom got a stick on it to deflect it wide to the short side of the goal.
For a second there, it looked like that puck had eyes on it.
Now the Blues pick it up again. This time it's Alexandrov. He had problems with the puck and then allows the Wings to dump it back into the St. Louis end. 5 minutes to go in the second period. 3-2, that's our score. Detroit with a 1-goal lead. Kufner, who has a goal in the game, taps that puck up across the St. Louis line. Tucker after the puck along with McLeod. McLeod with a bump on Tucker as it's worked loose in front, and misfiring on the shot was Phillip Zadina.
Yeah, I think Zadina pressing just a little bit. Just settle down, play your game. Kufner, though, all over the net. That's pretty impressive. Yeah, I like the Red Wings' response to that St. Louis power play goal. They have really kind of still dominated the play.
We mentioned Kufner, and that was a shot through traffic, and Kufner was in the right position, parked off the side of the goal trying to tip it in. Wings head back again with a rush. McLeod 2-on-1 with Zadina. Zadina, good play to stay on side. It's flipped into the corner. Kufner to pick it up for Detroit. Skates it behind the St. Louis goal. Working him over is Christensen as they battle for it along the corner boards. Kevin Hancock dug the puck away for St. Louis. Played it off the side glass out to center. And Duquette has it for Detroit. 3:50 to go in the second period. 3-2 lead for the Red Wings. Here is Veleno getting the feed. Stick handles, goes inside, then outside, then lost the handle of it. And here comes Hancock for the Blues. 3-on-2 over the line. Feed pass left circle. Balmas could not control that puck on his stick blade. So the Red Wings get out of a little bit of a dangerous rush right there. And now Taro Hirose up across the St. Louis line. Pulls up, swings it to the trailer, Veleno. Veleno feed pass in front, broken up. Hirose digs after the puck in the left corner. Got it now to Lucas Savage is in the slot with a shot, and that one changed direction out in front of Ellis, the goaltender. Puck played around the boards. Blues have control of it. Joshua dumping it out to center. Mo Cider was hit by Washkurek, and it was Washkurek who went down instead of Cider.
Right, and I think most saying, hey man, I didn't initiate that contact.
Again, you're listening to the Detroit Red Wings Prospect Tournament, brought to you by our friends at Huntington Bank. Cider's a big guy, isn't he, Daniela? I mean, he's got size.
I was just going to say, I don't think I would be messing with Mo Cider out there.
And he's only going to get bigger.
Right.
Yeah. Got to grow. He's only 18 years old.
Well, for some reason, I don't know. I think the Blues are. Cider didn't do anything on that play. He just kind of stood his ground. The Blues now trying to get in, maybe in Mo Cider's head, which we know is virtually impossible.
Do we know that?
Yes. He's a very disciplined young man.
Puck steered out to center ice. Veleno trying to fire it into the St. Louis zone. It ends up into the crowd. So we've got 2:55 to play in the second period. 1-goal Red Wing lead, 3-2. Sean Romeo taking a little bit of a swig of the water bottle, and he has faced just 13 shots in the hockey game. Early on in this game, when the Blues had pressure, he's made some good saves.
Yeah, he really has. I mean, Romeo had to, I don't know if he kept the Red Wings in the game, but certainly he didn't hurt his cause here. He's been pretty solid in net. A lot of scrambles in that first period, and he was able to find the puck and make the save.
Alexandrov will dump that puck around the boards, turning away from a check. Costin got it back in behind the goal. Now he'll pick it up again.
Veleno and Cider now back out, along with Regula. Hiroshi, it seems that Ben Simon letting some of the more high-end prospects out on the ice. They seem to be increasing in ice time as this game has gone along.
Now both teams will change here with a face-off coming up out at center ice. Kufner back out there with Pearson and Smith. They've combined for a goal here in the second period. Puck tapped up the left wing boards. The Wings are always looking for offense, and a guy like Kufner who has a great shot, if he was able to score at the National Hockey League level, I mean, that's a big plus.
Certainly, and I think Chase Pearson's looked pretty good in these two games too. He's a big body and a smart player.
He gets chances. Pearson, here's Kufner with the feed from Smith, and that went off a St. Louis stick, deflects into the corner.
I think that Kufner, his biggest issue is his, and I think he's...
Uh-oh, we got a fight now. We got Tucker squaring off with Javonni Smith. In between the circles. They get their equipment adjusted, and now here they go. Smith grabs on, so does Tucker. Tucker with a couple of lefts, Javonni Smith with a right hand, and Smith fell down. Tucker answers with a couple of rabbit punches, but it's unfortunate Smith lost his footing right there.
Yeah, I think that Javonni obviously was looking, I mean, he initiated, Tucker and him were kind of dancing around a little bit, but Javonni just grabbed him and said, let's go. If you want to throw, let's throw.
No, I've been impressed with Javonni Smith this game. I think he's playing really well, and hey, I like it. You know what?
Yeah. I mean, that wasn't really much of a little bit of a Donnybrook or a fight there. I mean, nothing was really.
We haven't seen any crazy fights in a while.
Yeah, nothing really happened there. I mean, I know the Blues are tapping their sticks, but.
Again, though, it could be, with 2 minutes to go here in the period, it could be an opportunity for the Blues to, try and set a tone for the third period and try to get back into the game.
I will tell you, Ken, after the whistle, the Blues have been trying to engage the Red Wings into some stuff, and, I'm not so sure Javonni Smith's the guy you want to engage in. And, and most Cider better watch it because I think they're going to go after him.
Pearson, Zadina, Kufner up front for Detroit. 3-2 Red Wings with the lead, 1:50 to go. Second period here at Traverse City Center Ice Arena. Fighting Majors to Tucker of St. Louis and Javonni Smith of Detroit.
I guess because they dropped the glove, they're fighting Majors, but that really wasn't much of a...
Could have got roughing calls as
really, that's what I'm thinking
play is
too.
stopped.
Put him on, let him sit for 2 minutes, so then when the third period starts, they can get that 5-minute major. Pick up where they left off. Because it wasn't much of a fight.
St. Louis really hasn't generated much offense here in the second period. They had 9 shots on goal. Actually outshot Detroit 9-8 in the first period, but they only have 13 shots total in the game right now.
And the Red Wings have 12 shots thus far in this second period.
In last night's game, St. Louis had 2 goals. Both of those came in the first period, so maybe that's something that, as a team, they are working on.
Feed pass, Bizier for the Red Wings up across the line. Now to Robinson, to Bizier from a sharp angle, and he was ridden off the puck. Good defensive play by Walter Flower, the defenseman for the Blues. Wings dig it loose. From the blue line, that's Lalonde. Now to Duquette, steers it in behind the St. Louis goal. Bizier after the puck in the corner for Detroit. Puck worked along the near side, and the Red Wings control. Morgan centers it in front. Robinson took a whack at it. Now it ends up to the side of the goal, covered up by Ellis, the netminder.
Behind the St. Louis bench, they have a mezzanine section that is filled with NHL scouts. All of them are wearing basically black jackets. It reminds me of almost being a tribunal. If these kids didn't think that they were being scouted or looked at, all they have to do is glance up there. It's kind of an eerie sight. Maybe it's just me.
Well, it's like in the wintertime, they're all wearing the long trench coats.
Right, exactly. They definitely are. I mean, so
they must have a dress code or something.
Yeah, they must be. They all look the same, and they're
it's like an unwritten rule.
Yeah, right. We got to wear a black.
Maybe our camera crew can get a nice opportunity, a shot as the puck is loose out in front of Romeo, who covers up, and again the sticks get up in front of him.
I like the way he plays that crease area. I mean, he doesn't lose sight of the puck when guys are coming down hard on him, and he had the control. He made the initial save, and the puck was right there at his pad. He was able to cover up before the Blues could do anything about it.
Again, you're watching the Red Wings Prospect Tournament from Center Ice Arena in Traverse City, Michigan, presented by Huntington Bank. Under a minute to play in the second period, 3-2 Wings. The Wings did pick up a point in tournament play, and it's 3 points for a win and 1 point for a tie or overtime.
And 2 points if you win in overtime.
Exactly.
That's a system I think that many people would like to see the NHL go to, Ken.
Yeah, the thing about it is the league likes, here's a shot on goal, and Ellis with the save. The league doesn't like a lot of separation amongst teams.
Right.
And if you start awarding an extra point, 3 points for a win, sometimes you see the good or the better teams in the league really pull far away from everybody else.
Well, Ken, you know the old CCHA was one of the first teams to adopt that point system, and I believe former Michigan State coach and also the commissioner of the CCHA at the time,
Hey, Todd.
Tom Anastas, was one of the guys that had to kind of like that system. And
Todd, will I be throwing back to them or
There's a lot of
going
big
to break?
fans of that point system, and I know that it has been bandied about, but as we know, if Ken Holland approves it, then the league will adopt it.
Well, there goes the horn, and the period comes to a close, and entertaining period for both of these two teams, especially Detroit. Red Wings getting goals from Kufner, Morgan, and Javonni Smith. Boganski scoring on the power play for St. Louis after 40 minutes of play. It's the Red Wings 3 and the Blues 2.
As Ken said, Red Wings 3, St. Louis 2. We are going to go to a quick break, guys. We will return shortly. Welcome back into the NHL Prospect Tournament stream presented by Huntington Bank. Our Red Wings team reporter Carly Johnston is down at ice level after a great second period from the Red Wings. Carly, who you got down there?
Thanks, guys. I'm here with none other than Taro Hiroshi. All right, so Game 2 in this Prospects Tournament last night wasn't exactly the outcome you wanted, but we saw some positives in the power play and another couple goals from the power play today.
Yeah, I mean, I think the guys are moving it well, especially for just getting out there for the first couple times together, and the coaches are stressing get the puck to the net and keep it simple. And I think it's working for us right now. So, sorry, in the game yesterday, you guys kind of had a little fire inside of you, and in the second period, it looks like in this game as well. Yeah, I mean, they came out firing. I think they lost yesterday, and they wanted to show well today. So, we bounced back in the second period, and hopefully we can have a good third as well. What can we expect in the third period? Just the same simple hockey and getting the pucks in their end and putting pucks in their net. All right, awesome. Thanks so much. Best of luck to you. Exciting seeing you out there at Fall Spartan. Go Green. Spartans are playing tonight. Yeah, it's exciting. All right, we'll get back to you guys in the booth.
Welcome back to the 2019 NHL Prospect Tournament stream presented by our good friends at Huntington Bank. I'm Daniela Bruce alongside Ken Kale and Art Regner. Guys, we're getting ready for this third period of hockey, and the Red Wings have a 1-goal lead.
Well, we'll see what happens here in the third, and Art brought up a good point about how will the Red Wings perform with the lead, and this is the only time they've had the lead in the first two games, so they gave up 1 goal that Poganski scored on the power play, but we've got an entertaining third period coming up here in Traverse City.
Right, I thought that after St. Louis came to within one, scored on the power play 3-2, I thought the Red Wings, though, responded well, did carry the play, had some scoring chances of their own, and it'll be interesting to see when Javonni Smith, after he serves his 5-minute major for fighting, exactly if the physicality of this game picks up in the third. I expected it will.
Third period is underway with a fresh sheet of ice. The puck is in the Red Wings zone. Maurice Cider scooping it up for the Wings. Got it up to Hirose. Chipped it across the line, and the play is whistled down. And we've got a penalty call right off the get-go here for interference, and it comes 17 seconds into the third period. And it looks like the guilty party is the defenseman, Jake Christensen.
Early power play here in the third for the Red Wings.
Be nice if they could capitalize on this.
Well, the Red Wings do have a power play goal in this hockey game. Kufner connected, so that's 2 power play goals for him. He had a power play goal to open the scoring in yesterday's game against the Blackhawks.
Usually Javonni Smith would be on this power play, but he's serving a 5-minute major.
Foligno, Soderblom up front, taking Smith's spot, and Hirose for Detroit on the power play. Cider on the left point, Zadina on the right. Cider with a good play to knock that puck away from Hancock as he was trying to break free.
Soderblom is on the power play, as you said, Ken, and also considering second center of the second line. So the Red Wings obviously are liking what they've seen from Bing Young-Elmer.
Here's Foligno getting the feed. Tataro Hirose banks it off the boards to Cider. Cross ice feed Zadina. Zadina to Cider, middle of the blue line to Zadina again. Phillip Zadina whips on the shot as he tried to pull the trigger from the right circle, and that allows the Blues to clear it down the ice.
I'm a big Phillip Zadina fan, but I do not like to see the body language here. He's really pressing a little bit. You can tell he fired that shot, he misfired it, and he's just shaking his head, muttering to himself. He's got to just keep playing and not getting down on himself. He's his own worst critic. Sometimes that's just not good.
That's twice in the game that he's whipped on shots, and he also did one time in yesterday's game. Now the puck cleared again by the Blues down the ice in the Red Wing power play. Not doing much here in the start of the third. 45 seconds to go in the Wings' man advantage.
Much like we talked about, Ryan Kufner needed to score a goal to get his confidence. He did in development camp. He's looked great in the Prospect Tournament. Zadina just needs to get a goal.
That's 2 over the blue line. Trying to split the middle is Kufner. Kufner turns in the corner. Got it back to McLeod. Now to Kufner again. Right circle. Feed pass across, and McLeod could not control the puck. Along the far boards, Jackson didn't clear it out. It's held in by the Wings. Now it's snapped out to center ice. Good defensive play on the penalty kill right there by the Blues defender, River Rimshaw. Time for one last rush on the power play. Lucas Savage is for the Wings. Down low into the corner, throws it back on the blue line. Here's Kufner to the middle of the line. Das2 with a feed left circle. McLeod fumbled the puck. Penalty is over. Pass across. Kufner with a shot. He tried to go upstairs. Ellis the save. Rebound. Pearson behind the goal.
His spot, he likes to be right on that goal line.
And a couple of nice goals for the Wings. Kufner here in the tournament so far. Lucas Savages with a shot partially deflected wide of the goal. Kufner on a long shift. Got it down low. McLeod with a shot. Ellis the save. Rebound. Pearson trying to jam it home. McPherson knocked him out of harm's way as the play is stopped. There's Pearson on the doorstep again, as he was in the opening period.
He's a solid player physically and mentally. I really like what I'm seeing from Chase Pearson in his game thus far.
Pearson played for the Maine Black Bears, 29 points. He is a 2015 fifth-round pick of the Detroit Red Wings.
And born and raised in Georgia. His father, though, a long-time professional hockey player, Pearson. That's why we've named him the Peach.
Where the peaches grow in Georgia as the puck is played to the side of the goal, and Romeo hanging on with that puck along the ice. 22 shots on goal by the Wings in the game, 14 for the St. Louis Blues.
Right, you can always tell at Georgia Peach they're succulent.
A lot of hair on them, right?
Yeah, exactly. A little bit of fuzz.
Bizier will take the face-off for Detroit against Alexandrov, the center iceman for the Blues. The puck stays in the circle now. It's wing to the line. Shot taken there by the defenseman Mitch Renke, and that one sails along the boards and out to center. Christensen has it. Renke got it up the right wing, and the Blues tap it in. Alexandrov after the puck with Duquette behind the Red Wing goal. They battle for it there. Romeo, Red Wing netminder, looking on from his goal crease. It squirts loose. Now up the left side, out to center ice. That is Cody Morgan shooting it into the corner for Bizier. Bizier turns with it. Robinson sets up in the slot. The pass was intended for him, broken up calmly, and lifted down the ice by the Blues. Austin Poganski making the play for St. Louis. Poganski has a goal for St. Louis in the game. 3-2 Detroit. Feed pass over the blue line, Soderblom. He fired a shot that's partially deflected off Rimshaw's stick. It ends up in behind the St. Louis goal. Along the far wing, Blues come back with it. It's tapped up the right side. Hancock trying to go after the puck, a race for the puck. Cider beat him to the foot race, and it's an icing call against the Blues.
Ken, I think we've got a scoring correction on one of the Red Wing goals.
Yes, we're hearing from Carly Johnson that the second goal was actually given to Lindstrom, not Morgan.
So apparently the shot went in, right?
Yes.
Yep. Wasn't deflected in.
You couldn't tell, though. It was a goal-mouth scramble there, and a lot of guys going for that puck.
Well, that's good news for Lindstrom, the Red Wing defenseman.
He definitely is going to play over here, probably most likely ticketed for Grand Rapids, but 30th overall in his draft here, or 38th. The Red Wings, many people surprised when he was chosen that high, but they obviously liked what they see.
Hirose on the ice for Detroit with Soderblom. And Kufner now as Rimshaw has the puck for the Blues. Tosses it across along the far side for Justin McPherson. Now to cross ice to River Rimshaw. That puck is deflected in behind the Detroit goal from center ice. Dash 2 for Detroit. Checked in along the boards. Got a little tug on his man as Soderblom played it to Kufner at center. Off his stick he was bothered. Tucker has it now for St. Louis. 3-2 game. Detroit leading by a goal. Almost 5 minutes gone by in the third period here in Traverse City. LaFerriere into the corner. Trying to jam that puck loose as they battle for it. Kufner dug it away, got it around the boards, but the Blues play it back on the blue line. Flower with a shot. It ends up behind the Detroit goal. Blues trying to work it. It comes to Flower again. Now to Tucker. Tucker with a shot way wide of the target. Now it's loose out in front. A chance right there by the forward Costin, but he could not connect. Now it's LaFerriere with a weak shot to the front of the goal. Save made by Romero, and the Red Wings clear it down the ice.
Right, St. Louis getting a little too dangerous here. Too close for comfort.
Blues come back on the attack. Tucker's pass misses everybody. Travels into the corner. Cider first man of the puck for Detroit. 3-2 Red Wings. Wings trying to get the 3 points with a victory. High sticking penalty coming up now as Valeno got clipped in the face with a stick. Red Wings will get that goaltender. Romeo off for Romeo for the extra attacker as the Wings bring it ahead. Cider with a feed pass to Zadina down the left side. Over the St. Louis line. Flips it around the boards. McPherson touches it, and the penalty against the Blues. Red Wings will go on the power play and try to add to their 3-2 lead.
Valeno saying that he's bleeding, and it is 4 minutes. He got clipped in the mouth. Don't worry, though. He's still on pace to be a GQ cover guy eventually.
Looks like they only put 2 minutes on the board.
The referee just said 4, though. He definitely just said 4. High sticking. Valeno's mouth is bloody, so, I mean, the blood was drawn. I saw one official signal 4, but we'll see. They're talking it over right now. Javonni Smith back, his 5-minute major over.
If this
look at Valeno's now talking. We can see it right down here. He's asking, I almost lost a tooth. And I think they're going to change it to 4 minutes.
This was the WWE. He'd have the blood capsule in his mouth.
Oh, yeah, bet you would.
Yep, you're right, Art. 4 minutes up on the board. Good call.
And and accentuate the point, he'd probably take a folding chair and hit himself.
All right, a big opportunity, big moment of the game for Detroit. They want to go ahead by a couple here. It's a 3-2 affair. Red Wings with a 4-minute power play. Hirose to Zadina, moves in, shoots the puck. Ellis to save, the rebound right on the doorstep. Bounced away from Veleno. Hirose fights for the puck. He's got it for Detroit. Stares away from traffic. Veleno to Hirose. Quick passing by the Red Wings Cider. Left circle. Hirose to Zadina trying to set him up in the right circle. He couldn't control the puck. Into the corner. Red Wings still have it at the right point. Cider. Zadina to Cider again. Moves over, middle of the blue line to Zadina. Right circle. Cuts, shoots. Short side, wide of the goal. He missed. Into the corner. Javonni Smith dug it loose off the boards. 3-2 Detroit from the line. Cider. Tapped it over to Hirose at the left face-off circle. Taro Hirose saucers it to Zadina. Now to Cider in the high slot. Cider shoots. Save made with a blocker by the goaltender Ellis, and the rebound comes out to center ice. Red Wings regroup there. Hirose quickly over the St. Louis line. Blues are in the middle of a change. Now the Blues intercept. Christensen will scoop it up and fire it all the way down the ice. Now the Blues will change. They get their penalty killers out there. 2:43 remaining in the Red Wing man advantage. 12:35 to go in the third period. Wings lead 3-2. Kufner brings it ahead for Detroit. Sidesteps a check at center, worked it over the line. Dastu was covered. Pins the puck in along the boards, but it's dug loose and cleared down the ice by Poganski in a penalty-killing roll. Another change by St. Louis, getting fresh legs on the ice. Joshua is deep in the Red Wing zone as the Wings bring it out. Along the left side, McLeod got it across to Lucas Savages, and it's intercepted, and Walter Flower will fire it all the way down the ice. After the Red Wings had some pressure in that St. Louis zone, they're having a little problem getting into the zone, and now they'll try it again.
Right now, the first 2 minutes of the double minor has been extinguished. Red Wings now 1:50 and counting to go in power play time.
Just a nice pass out in front for McLeod, and he had a wide open net, was knocked down. He is hurting a little bit. That's that left leg as he makes his way over to the Wings bench.
Yeah, favoring that just a little bit, but he is able to put skate on it, so hopefully that's a good sign.
Went crashing hard in along the end boards, and there is 1:49 to go in the Red Wing man advantage. 11:46 to play, third period, 3-2 Detroit. Zadina talking things over with Mo Cider, Smith, Hirose, and Veleno out there for Detroit.
Well, something's up because neither team is happy with the officiating at this point. Both referees, one at the Detroit bench, one at the St. Louis bench, trying to explain exactly a lack of a call or of a non-call there. Red Wings definitely thinking that they should have another two-man advantage.
Well, Poganski was late coming off the bench. Looked like a 5-on-3.
And we do have a penalty.
Yep, and it looks like it's a long 5-on-3 now for Detroit for 1:49 as the Blues get the gate again. So big opportunity for Detroit. Let's see if they can cash in. Big guns out there for the Red Wings right here as the puck is played to the right point. Cider holds it in. Got it across to Zadina, right circle. Now to Cider again. Red Wings looking for the best shot. Veleno to Cider. Right circle down low to Zadina. Zadina brings it back towards the middle of the blue line. Skates into the slot, drops it off. Veleno scores! What a shot by Veleno. A slapper from the right face-off dot. He got the feed from Zadina. Blasts it home upstairs for the power play goal, and it's 4-2 Detroit.
Yeah, I was going to say something before they just scored there. This is the third 5-on-3 opportunity they've had in this tournament. It was about time that they scored a goal, and they certainly did. And the thing that I liked, the Red Wings, they knew they had a long 5-on-3. They showed great patience in moving that puck around in the attacking zone. I think you saw the skill level that Detroit does have, especially on that first power play unit. And suddenly the Red Wings up by 2. Nice play. Veleno just picked that corner.
You know what else I noticed as Mo Cider skated out there for that 5-on-3, he kind of took charge of that huddle again. He had the guys in there talking it through, so just showing his leadership there. And Zadina on the setup, so that's got to give him a little confidence heading into the rest of this game.
That's a good point, Daniela, and it's good to see an 18-year-old taking charge like that. You don't normally see that. All right, Red Wings lead by 2. They're still on the power play for 1:20, like to cash in from the slot. Veleno misfires. Zadina to the line to Cider. Left circle, Hiroshi. Shoots it across. Zadina pulls the trigger, and the save was made by Ellis. Hiroshi handles it. Now Cider to Zadina again. Quick feed in the slot. Valeno scores! His second goal, set up by Zadina again. Power play goal. It is now 5-2 Detroit.
Well, I know I said Zadina needed to score a goal. Maybe he needed just to get a couple of points because he is jacked up, and so is Valeno.
Yeah, Joe Valeno's got the hot stick right now. That was another great shot.
Boy, 2 more power play goals for the Red Wings. They had 3 last night, and they've got 3 here in the game against the Blues.
Well, in his current blog entry that you can read on DetroitRedWings.com, from the Q to the D, Joe Valeno talked about Prospects Tournament, what he's going to do. I mean, he's completely focused on trying to make the Red Wings, and thus far, 4 goals in 2 games. Pretty good start for the young man.
2 goals, 40 seconds apart, both on the power play, both by Valeno, and the Red Wings now to a commanding 5-2 lead over the Blues. Ellis will just hang on to the puck along the near goal post. Boy, Joe Valeno just on fire. You know, you expect Zadina with the shot to score the goals, but Zadina's the setup man right now, and Valeno buried the shots.
And Zadina considers himself to be a complete player. He's just not a goal scorer, although that is how he's going to make his mark in the NHL. But Valeno, and a quick shot too. Joe Valeno, no sooner is that puck on his stick, it's off, and that's what you need to do.
Here's Kufner to Lucas Savages, moves in with a shot, and the puck is in. It eluded Ellis into the net. Another goal for Detroit, and the floodgates have opened. It's 6-2 to Red Wings with the lead.
I think that Ellis was anticipating. Kufner made that whole play happen. He took concentration level off. Ellis was pretty sure that puck was either going to go over to Kufner or something. That was the goaltender was kind of caught in no man's land on that play, and Ryan Kufner going hard to the net actually made that play.
That's 3 goals at a span of 1 minute and 2 seconds for the Red Wings.
Well, thus far they lost last night to the Leafs 6-2, they being St. Louis, and certainly it's now 6-2 again.
Who's going to get credit for that goal, Art?
I thought for sure it was going to be Kufner, but it might be Lucas Savage.
We'll wait for the official call on the goal, but the Red Wings have increased their lead now to 6-2 over St. Louis halfway through the third.
I thought that Kufner got a piece of it in the net, but then it was close to being goaltender interference too.
Soderblom along the near wing, had it knocked away, and now race for the puck, Alexandrov, and he's hit by Javonni Smith. Lalonde quickly turns out to center for the Wings. Feed pass broken up by Poganski out at center, moves away from McLeod, the Red Wing forward, and dumps it in. Lucas Savages gets credit for the goal. So he's impressed a lot of people here. Lucas Savages, he's got it again to make that McLeod with a shot right at Ellis, and he makes the save right where that blue note crest is on the front of his jersey.
Certainly the 5-on-3 helped, and the power play to begin the third period. A couple of 5-on-3s, I think, by the Red Wings here, but they're doing what they needed to do. St. Louis was giving them opportunities, and they've taken advantage of those opportunities in 2 power play goals by Valeno. And certainly you've got to be encouraged if you're the Red Wings to the way this team has responded, especially in the third period. Really, since St. Louis made it a 3-2 game when they pulled it within 1, the Red Wings have been by far the better team, and maybe the Blues pressing a little bit because they lost last night and they lost big, and they're, unfortunately, if you're a St. Louis fan, they're losing big again here in Game 2 of the Prospects Tournament that they're playing against the Red Wings.
They've given up 12 goals in their last 2 games, the St. Louis Blues.
And on the one hand, if you're a Red Wing fan, the Red Wings have scored thus far 10 goals in 2 games. That's not bad. And Valeno has 4 of them.
6 power play goals out of the 10 for Detroit as well. So special teams, we mentioned, not only the power play, but the penalty kill as well, have been really good in the tournament.
You really have to be impressed with what the Red Wings have been able to do, because as we know, special teams have been kind of a bane of their existence the last couple of seasons for the Red Wings, and so it's good to see good habits being established by this Prospects team.
Then you look at the Blues, they have 15 shots on goal in the course of the game. Red Wing netminder Sean Romeo, really hasn't been a busy netminder, but he has made some big saves. When he had to, as McPherson cuts across the line. Zadina tried to low bridge him.
Well, rumor has it that if Ohio State were playing right now, he'd have a little TV in his crease there to kind of catch the game because it's inactivity.
Are they going to call him the
Sean
Romeo? Penalty coming up to Detroit. Trying to go upstairs. Costin, he shot it over the goal post. LaFerriere overskated the puck, and finally the whistle now. And the Red Wings will be the guilty party, and they'll go into the penalty box.
Yeah, only the Buckeyes would try to copyright the word "the." I'm sorry.
If anyone hasn't noticed, Art is a Michigan alumni here.
I'm just saying, I mean, give me a break.
Is he going to call him the goalie now, or what?
The goalie.
The goalie.
Well, I think, it's really coming back to haunt him because now everybody puts "the" in front of everything when you're referring to Ohio State.
All right, well, let's see what the Red Wing penalty killers will do here. We mentioned that specialty teams have been terrific all tournament long for the Red Wings, and
these specialty teams, you mean?
the Wings did allow a power play goal to Polganski in the second period, but overall they've killed a lot of big power plays, especially yesterday in the third period. Back-to-back power plays for the Hawks. Blues control. Christensen at the left point. Got it across. Shot taken by Alexandrov. Redirected in front, wide of the goal. And the Wings poke it out of harm's way. Hancock has it for St. Louis. 6-2 Detroit, 7:40 to play in regulation. Gustav Lindstrom intercepts the puck for Detroit along the near wing. Now Joshua after it for St. Louis. Tapped it down low. It comes to the line of Jack Christensen.
Yeah, I'm not sure how to feel about Lindstrom's game. We haven't mentioned him much. I'm not sure if that's a good or bad thing during this tournament, although he did score a goal today.
Red Wing steal, and Regula will pick up the puck and hammer it all the way down the ice. Regula's been pretty steady in both games so far. He's played in both Red Wing games as the Blues set it up in behind their own goal, and coming out to center ice is Mitch Renke. Not a ball miss. Second effort, worked it over the line. Steven was ahead of the puck, and the play is offside. 7:02 to play in regulation. 6-2 lead for Detroit. Red Wings will take on the Toronto Maple Leafs on Monday. Everybody will have the day off tomorrow, and we just want to remind you that you're watching the Detroit Red Wings Prospect Tournament here in Traverse City, presented by Huntington Bank.
Red Wing Prospect's going to visit the Humane Society tomorrow. After their
you
practice.
told us you're going to bring us a pet tomorrow, aren't you?
Well, on Monday, I'm going to present both to you during the pregame, which begins at 5:30 on Monday. I'm going to give you, Danielle, a puppy, and Ken, you a kitten.
My wife won't like that. We just redid our house, so if that cat was chewing up everything, she would not like it.
What better way than to have a cat with the new furniture, using it as a scratching post? I'm sure Darlene will just fall immediately in love.
She'll love you, Art. 6-2 Red Wings. Time ticking away in the third. Puck stolen. Smith charges over the blue line, makes his way in, falling to the ice, and that one never made it to Ellis, the goaltender. Wings have fired 28 shots at Colton Ellis, the Blues netminder here in the game.
And they've had a lot of power play time and a lot on 5-on-3 too, so they should have fired a lot of shots.
Costin got it now. Christensen over the blue line. Stick handles his way to the boards, and the puck was intercepted by Javonni Smith. He'll steer it across the St. Louis blue line. Red Wings good on the penalty kill as they do not allow the Blues a goal, and it's both teams at full strength. 5:45 to go in the third period.
We could be reaching a point in this game where we're going to see maybe the Blues frustration level start to kick in a little bit. And I think the Red Wings are going to have to play a patient and controlled game here and a disciplined game, because I'm sure St. Louis would like to at least win a battle or two.
In the old days, in the old Norris division, when a team had a 6-2 lead, you'd see about 3 or 4 fights before the game would be over.
Well, don't they still hold the NHL record, the Red Wings and Blues, for most penalty minutes in a playoff period or something?
I think you're right. Up across the line, the Wings. Zadina with a shot. Owen Ellis did the splits and made a glove save to possibly rob Zadina of a goal.
Well, that gives Zadina's his confidence level is pretty high right now. He made 2 really good setups here, and so he has a couple of points this period. Joe Valeno obviously scoring a couple of goals, and so
Zadina has taken a couple of good shots too. That was a good shot and great save by the goaltender. So I think his confidence has definitely boosted, as you said, just to see him get a couple of points. Maybe that's what he needed.
Yeah, he needed to get on the score sheet one way or another. And, certainly when you're feeding the puck to Joe Valeno, who has shown, and one of the things, Ken, that he dropped, he was, in his draft year, he was supposed to be right in the middle of the pack of the first round. The the Red Wings couldn't get up fast enough to call him at 30th overall, at the draft in Dallas. And one of the reasons is because he didn't have a good, quick, hard shot. Obviously, the young man worked on that. He had 104 points last year for Drummondville, but Veleno has turned himself and really took what the Red Wings had to say to heart, and has really become a complete hockey player.
Art, wasn't Veleno too one of the younger players to play in the Ontario Hockey League?
He had
Quebec League?
Yes, exceptional status. I think he was the first player to play at 15. Other guys have done it in the Western League and in the Connor McDavid for one, and in the OHL, but he was the first in the Quebec League, and because he didn't tear it up as a 15-year-old, he kind of had a little bit of a stigma. And let's face it, if you're a Red Wing fan, man, maybe that was a good thing because he fell to 30 in the first round, and boom, he looks like a real player.
When Lindstrom falls down, here's Jackson moving in. Good work coming back by Bizier to cover up for him. See, those are plays that go unnoticed during the course of the game. A play like Bizier just made right there. And, boy, the coaching staff, they'll be tapping him on the head after the game. That was a good cover-up by Bizier.
Right. And, again, they're in a position where they have to make the most of every opportunity they get. They scored. Lindstrom was kind of out of the play there. He dropped his stick and got hit. So even though it wasn't a power play, the St. Louis Blues had the advantage, and they made the most of it. Now 6-3. 4:33 left here in this hockey game in the third period.
I believe it was Jackson who put that puck into the net for St. Louis.
Robbie Jackson also had a goal last night against the Maple Leafs.
One of the players we were talking about, Danielle, in the pregame show was Toropchenko, and we really haven't seen him much. I don't know if he got hurt or he just hasn't played. He's played a little bit in the first half of this game, but not so much here in the second half.
Yes, and for reference, Toropchenko got the other of the 2 goals in St. Louis's game last night.
Red Wings back over the line. Regula with a shot and a pad save from Ellis. Back come the Blues the other way. 6-3 game. Red Wings lead by 3. Hancock dumps it in. And the puck plays up the center of the ice, and here comes Taro Hirose. One man to beat, cuts wide, shifty move, sends it across. A shot taken right there from the left side, and that one ends up in the corner, and it was taken by Kufner.
That would have been a highly educated goal if those two connected.
Well, they both came up at the end of last season.
One from Michigan State, and the other one from Princeton.
Yes.
For you college football fans, Michigan's football helmet is identical to Princeton's.
Are they really?
Yeah, one's maize and blue, and the other one's orange and black, Princeton's color. Fritz Chrysler took that design. Princeton had it when he became Michigan's head coach and put it on the Michigan helmet.
Javonni Smith breaking out the center with LaFerriere in pursuit. LaFerriere rides him in along the corner boards. Smith bumps with the forward Klim Kostin as they battle for it. Lucas Savages with the puck for Detroit in the corner, and now we've got a penalty call coming up to St. Louis. 3:04 to go in regulation. Is that a cross-checking call signaled by the referee?
Yeah, St. Louis just not happy. And really, they have no one to blame but themselves. They're a little bit of an undisciplined team. I think we've seen that today, and they're really trying to, all game long, they've been trying to draw the Red Wings into some shenanigans and some penalties, but the Red Wings have played a controlled, very disciplined game. And sometimes at this level, when you're trying to prove yourself, it's a little bit difficult to keep your emotions under control. But as a whole, the Red Wings have done a very, very good job in this hockey game.
You do got to feel for St. Louis a little bit, though. This is the second game in a row where they've been down by 3 or more goals. They've had 12 goals scored on them in 2 games, so frustration levels have to be a little high as well.
Well, right, and now in this final 3:04, now we'll see, and they have to kill off a penalty. Exactly. Will this game deteriorate? I don't think so, but you never know.
More power play time for the big guns out there for Detroit. Ellis coming up with a save and goal. So you got Zadina out there with Joe Veleno. Veleno looking for the hat trick. He has 4 goals, 2 goals yesterday, 2 goals today. Pearson is out there for Detroit, and Zadina and Cider are playing the points on the power play.
Right, Javonni Smith not on this unit. He has been for most of the tournament, but Chase Pearson maybe getting rewarded a little bit for his fine overall play.
Cider tried to swing it across to Zadina, and he whipped on it, and that allows the Blues to play it down the ice. Here comes Mo Cider with a feed to Zadina, bursting down the right wing. Toropchenko coming away with the puck. We're just talking about him. He's out there right now as he brings it down short-handed, 2-on-1. Flipped it across, and the Red Wing player just got a stick on it. And Veleno comes back on a 4-on-2 for Detroit. Over the line to Hirose. Taro Hirose to the trailer. Pearson with a shot. Ellis to save. The rebound.
Nice
sent
save
out in front.
Good save there by Ellis.
Cleared down the ice by the Blues. 1:10 to go in the Red Wing man advantage. 2:10 to play in the third period. Red Wings on top of St. Louis 6-3 here this afternoon. Wings attacking again out at center ice. Dash 2 to the trailer. On the near wing, it's shot in by McLeod into the St. Louis zone. We've got a whistle and the play is offside. Red Wings opponent on Monday will be the Toronto Maple Leafs. I believe that's a 6 or 6:30 game.
6 o'clock face-off.
We'll be on the air at what, 5:30?
You know, does the rivalry live on there? You know, in the big leagues, there's a rivalry, a big rivalry between those original 6 teams. Do you think it carries over to the Prospects?
You bet it does. I'm telling you. I love that game just because of the simplicity of the uniforms. Red and white versus blue and white. I don't know. It just revs me up. So I'm sure that those players are going to be ready.
Ooh, big collision. Soderblom out at the St. Louis blue line along with Poganski. Interference is the call to Soderblom, and that'll even things up.
Soderblom saying, hey, look, I'm 6'7". I didn't even see the guy. Give me a break.
Well, Mike Babcock, he'll be here as he was here for the first game of his tournament 6-3, 6-2 win over the St. Louis Blues. So he'll be here in attendance.
He will. Brendan Shanahan as well. The president of the Maple Leafs, but still a Red Wing at heart, right, Brendan?
4-on-4 hockey for 33 seconds, and then the Blues go on the power play. 6-3 Detroit, 1:35 to go in the game. Renke over to the right side. Costin with a shot, and the save was made by Romeo.
A little 4-on-4 hockey.
Here is Javonni Smith with a move away from Poganski. Nice feed. Empty net. Goal! Scored by Pearson. And that should do it. It's 7-3 in favor of Detroit, and that's an even strength goal.
If you're a Griffins fan, look at that combination. You're going to see a lot of that this year in GR.
What a play by Javonni Smith, though.
Yes. Javonni Smith has skill. I mean, he is certainly in the Red Wing mix. He's done nothing but help his cause. And as I said earlier, this was a game where he should have been one of the best players on the ice. And for the most part, he's done everything. He's been physical. He's got on the score sheet. So Javonni Smith playing a good game for the Red Wings today.
Pearson, who had some opportunities earlier in the game, gets credit for the empty netter. And it's now a big lead for Detroit with 1:05 to go in the game, 7-3 Detroit. Joshua played that puck along the boards. Robinson scoops it up the left wing and down the ice. Under a minute to play in regulation. Red Wings in control, 7-3 against the Blues.
The 4-goal lead. Ellis is now in the net. He's not being pulled.
McPherson.
He refused to go out of the net.
Toropchenko tried to play it out in front of the net into the corner. Regula chipped it up the left wing wall to Robinson. Robinson up across the line onside, feeds it across to Bizier. He'll just shoot it out the center. Duquette slides it across. Regula has it for Detroit. Head up, steers it out to center, and it's played by Morgan into the St. Louis end. 20 seconds to go in the contest. Big lead for Detroit. Blues are on the power play for the remainder of the period. Unless they score, but time's winding down. 10 seconds to go. Costin up across the line behind the back feet. Christensen with a shot. Save made by Romeo. But the loose puck, it's played by Morgan out to center ice. We've got a whistle with just 3 seconds to go.
So the Red Wings will now have 4 points in 2 games. They get 3 for the victory today.
It's a big win for Detroit,
yes,
if you look at the point board in their division.
So they in Toronto, depending on how the Leafs are doing, and they're playing, I think, right now on the other rink here at center ice.
Chicago's got 2 points.
2 points, right. So the Red Wings and the Leafs could be playing for the top spot in their division on Monday.
Well, the puck shot down the ice, a spirited performance by the Red Wings on this Saturday afternoon, and they connect on the power play and end up winning this hockey game 7-3 over the St. Louis Blues.
So good bounce back for the Red Wings after last night's heartbreaker loss in overtime. That goal happened really quick. It was a great goal, but obviously still a heartbreaking loss. What does that say about this team? They came out and they were here to play today.
Well, I think that they felt good about their performance against the Blackhawks. I mean, unfortunately, as we said, Boquist's overtime goal, great player, made a great shot, and sometimes you just have to tip your cap to the opposition. But I think the Red Wings said, okay, we lost the game, we're disappointed, but let's build off what we were able to do, and that's exactly what they did. They came out here and essentially, St. Louis started off pretty well, but as the Red Wings started to find their legs, I thought, they took control of this hockey game. There's always ebbs and flows in a game, but I think overall you got to be pretty pleased if you're a Red Wing fan.
A couple of turning points, Daniela and Art. The Red Wings scored in bunches here this afternoon, and when you look back at the second period, they scored 3 goals in a span of just a little bit under 3 minutes. And then the third period, they scored 3 goals in a span of 1 minute and 2 seconds. And that's 6 goals right there that just really takes the wind out of the opponent's sails.
Javonni Smith is on his way.
We've been talking about this a lot. The special teams, penalty kills, power plays, all seem to be a highlight for the Red Wings so far this tournament.
And, you talk to Red Wing coach.
Smith.
You talk to Red Wing coach Jeff Blashill, and he'll always tell you that if you have a good power play and a good penalty kill, definitely that can win hockey games over the course of a season.
And then you throw it in defense.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Art. We've got Carly Johnson down there on the ice. She's got Javonni Smith with her, who played really well in that game. Carly, take it away.
Hey guys, this is my player of the game, Javonni Smith. Gordie Howe hat trick in Game 2 of Prospects Tournament. How are you feeling?
Feeling pretty good. Boys got a big win today, so it's nice.
Coming off a big win. Bummer of a loss last night, but you guys are 1-1 in the tournament. How are you going to keep the ball rolling through this tournament?
We just got to keep playing like how we did that last game. Our first game was kind of tough. It was our first game together, and all the boys getting their legs underneath us. So, today we had a lot better game. Everyone's feeling good today, and going to keep it going.
All right, so you're kind of a Prospects Tournament vet. It's year 4. What do you say to some of these young guys and some of these new guys like Maurice Cider?
So have fun with it. Be comfortable with what you're doing. If you make a play, just be confident because, I know it's a Prospect Tournament and you want to do your best, but, before we went to camp here, you're going to get all the nerves out, get all the plays out. You want to make turnovers, try new things and just, have fun with it.
Awesome. Well, thanks for your time. I appreciate it. Have a fun day off tomorrow, huh?
Thank you. Thanks.
All right, we'll see you Monday, guys. Back to you.
Thank you, Carly. And hey, she mentioned it first there, the Gordie Howe hat trick for Javonni Smith. That's a goal, an assist, and a fight.
Wasn't much of a fight, but I guess it does qualify.
Right?
Yeah.
Gloves came off.
But you know what, guys, and Danielle, that is what he's all about. He's about sticking up for his teammates. He can play that physical brand of hockey. He can play the net front presence on the power play, and that's his bread and butter.
Right, certainly, and I think we did see that. He does have offensive skill as well, but he's not afraid to mix it up. And as you could tell, as you said, that wasn't really much of a fight. Right. He kind of, lost an edge or something and went down rather quickly. But he was the one that was engaging. He was the one that was throwing the punches before he fell to the ice. So Javonni Smith, and again, he should have had a good game today. Short turnaround, a little bit older, kind of a vet of this. He's only a second-year pro now. His first year was last year in Grand Rapids. And I thought that in both games he has been engaging, and as Ken described, he does exactly what he has to do. He considers himself to be a power forward, which he is, and I think he's shown it the first 2 games.
Hey, guys, we're going to wrap things up here for today, and we'll be back on Monday. The Red Wings are taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. Puck drop for that game is 6 p.m., so that means we'll be live at 5:30 for your NHL Prospects stream presented by our friends at Huntington Bank. Thank you guys so much for joining us today, and we'll see you on Monday.
Goodbye.